You are watching the vodka stream.
Yo, what's happening, everybody? It's a Saturday edition vodka stream. That's right, we're doing it on Saturday as well. But, it's a little bit different, of course. Like I said, usually once a month, I try to welcome on supporters of the channel. So if you are a member or if you're a patron, you're part of the Patreon, hey, guess what? You're supporting the channel? Come on in and be part of the panel, man. So we're going to be doing that. So we'll have people, like I said, if you're part of that, I'm going to be dropping the link soon. And if you want to be part of the conversation, join in. Join in. We're going to do some talking, some celebrating when it comes to Batman versus Superman and hashtag thank you Batfleck. We're going to bring that back. Why not bring that back? I got my little vodka spritzy junkie drink. So everything's all good. Hopefully you guys had a good day. Had a pretty decent day. Of course, right now my neighbors are like working on the fence right here. So I'm like hearing this. It's like you guys are waiting till 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, the sun's going down, and now you're working on things outside. Jeez. Watching BVS Ultimate Edition on Max right now. I might put it on after this. After talking about it and stuff. I might turn it on after this. I currently have the Mariners and A's that are playing right now on my TV because baseball season's back, baby. Hopefully everyone's good. We got Eric right here. Good to see you. Like I said, there's probably not going to be too many people in the chat. Max Wolf, Night, Danger. Hey, Dave, what up? I'm doing good. Wow, 9 years. It's BBS. Holy shit, that is crazy. I know. It's absolutely crazy. Buenas noches, Carlos. Good to see you. We got Sly Bat Dude, who originally was Jade. I like the name, man. I definitely like the name. So, all right, gonna go ahead and send the link. So, like I said, if you're part of the member, if you're a member or you're a patron, by all means, join in, and we can have a good little conversation and everything. So there wasn't a lot of craziness that happened today. I think there's still that discourse out there when it comes to, of course, what happened yesterday when it came to the whole Bradley Cooper thing. I still seeing some people that are just not happy at all about all that. I mean, it's just going to be that discourse, just going to be that discourse. Jesus. Sorry, I'm looking at my Twitter feed right now, and I just saw a post of something, and I'm like, wow, it's pretty funny. It can appeal to many different fan bases, that's for damn sure. So, but I was just looking at it right now, going, what the f? It's like, geez, you gotta love it though. Creativity. And of course, there's like, you know what other discourse is out there right now too. I mean, of course, Chat GPT did like this thing where they were like making, I don't know, I'm not a big anime fan, but I know there was like a lot of people utilizing some kind of Chat GPT thing, or it's a certain studio that's making whatever, and you can basically anime yourself. A lot of people are using that. I don't really use Chat GPT. I have used it, but I just haven't done anything when it comes to that. But I've been seeing a lot of people posting like images or posting like scenes, full-on scenes from movies, and people are just posting. And I mean, it looks cool. I will give it that, but I swear, man, some of the people who are just so like get so angry. I mean, I literally have seen people that I follow that are saying that, basically, I mean, I'm going to assume that they're not being serious, but they want violence to happen to people who are using AI. And I'm just kind of going like, whoa, okay, now we're getting a little too far, because I can 100% understand being upset if a movie studio, like a big movie studio, is utilizing AI to create some of this kind of stuff, as opposed to actually hiring hardworking artists, for sure. But if it's just people having fun with like their own videos, their own images, and they're just having fun with it, relax. I get it. You think that, but you have to realize, no matter what, AI is here to stay, and there's just gonna have to be, you just gotta. Yeah, when it comes to little old me, I mean, like I said, I posted that image, and I even clipped out my little diatribe at the opening of the Vodka stream last night when it came to talking about the Bradley Cooper Jor-El thing. I mean, I went to Grok and I made that image, but then of course I added to it, and then when I made the thumbnail for that video, I added a different background, of course, and then of course I added the actual Superman like logo, and I kind of try to fit it on there in Photoshop. But I mean, there was when I posted that image. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen people like AI slop. I'm like, yeah, no shit. What gave it away that it was AI? Yeah, I typed it in, and then it came up, and I posted about it. Yeah, okay. I'm not an artist. I wasn't going to hire an artist to, hey, make me a Bradley Cooper Jor-El image. I'll pay you fucking what, I don't know, $30, $40. Here, post that so I could post it on Twitter. No, I'm not going to do that. It's just, if I were going to be doing something that has a project where if I was going to be involved with some kind of project that needed something like that, like maybe, for instance, like, when you have like those live action comic book things, like Project Justice League or something like that, that's where you go, okay, I'm not going to use AI. I'm going to actually hire somebody that knows what the hell they're doing and do all that. That's when you actually do it. Or if I have to have like an opening intro or something, that's when I'm going to 100% reach out and try to hire somebody and actually do that. But if it's something really minor that I just want to, I just need a little thing right there, hey, I'm going to use that. Okay. There's nothing wrong with just utilizing it as a tool for a little bit. That's all. Just utilize it as a tool, so. And if people want to have fun with it, let them have fun with it. I mean, I've been seeing those images everywhere for the past couple of days, and they're probably going to be disappearing. Everybody's going to get bored and move on to the next thing after this. So, but good times. So that's my little spiel right at the beginning right here. Oh, that's cool. Ooh, hey, look at this right here. Oh, this is fun. I knew I heard something about this, but before we get started here, because one of the when it came to the Avengers announcement, when it came to casting, like the biggest one that I thought was the most random was Alan Cumming. I had a feeling that maybe Patrick Stewart would come out, and then of course it was nice hearing that Ian McKellen was going to be coming back, and then of course James Marsden. But Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler, I was like, wow, that's pretty. I didn't see that one. I didn't see that one coming. And he's coming back, and he did share a video of the reaction to it. I didn't even notice this until I just saw it on my feed right here. Here's the reaction to it. I think that was Alan Cumming, or that was Waldo. I don't know. Could have been Waldo. Where's Waldo right there? But I just wonder, again, because we talked about it last night, is he going to be full on doing the makeup, or is it just going to be CGI like what they did with Kelsey Grammer in the Marvels? I don't know. That's what's going to be the question. I hope they do. Maybe they could do a little bit of both. Maybe they'll do a little bit of both. But I really hope that they actually put that makeup on his face again, because the designs and the facial stuff was pretty damn cool. So, but anyways, guys, like I said, if you want to join and you're a member or you're a part of the Patreon, go for it. Like I said, I dropped the links on the Patreon. I dropped the link on the feed for the members only. So look for that if you want to join in the conversation, and we'll do a little celebrating, and we'll talk about some recent stuff too. Let's see, Disney and Warner Brothers claim. Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that they're like, hey, if anybody makes like an AI version of trailers, something like that, they want the monetization to go to them. Which, you know what? To be honest, why not? Why not? If someone's gonna like do that and generate some kind of AI thing using their properties, I'm like going, why not? I mean, I wouldn't do something like, I'm not going to sit there and try to generate like a fake trailer or fake footage through AI. People do that. People have done that. People who I follow have done certain stuff like that, even though I know they're against AI. I've seen that where I'm like, wait a minute, that's AI. And I thought you were against AI. But, everybody's a hypocrite, right? We're all hypocrites. Anyways, all right, let's get started here. Let's start bringing some people in. And like I said, if you guys want to join by all means. First off, we got, hey, what's going on, Jade? Whoa. You good?
Hello.
How's it going, man?
What is up? It's been a minute. How you
Been
doing?
a little bit, yeah. I know with all the moving and everything that I had to do and everything, I haven't done one of these in a bit. So, been about a couple months, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you been?
Pretty good. Been I don't know. I've just been trying to keep up with Daredevil.
Yeah.
Obviously watched the whole stream for the Doomsday casting while
Right.
I was at work.
You had it
So
on in the background, right?
yeah, I had it on
Yeah.
the background every I think it was like every 10, 15
12 minutes,
minutes.
something like that.
Yeah. I dip into the stream just to see like who was coming up next, and it was honestly really, really nice, even though it was taking like forever for the next season to get revealed. I think
Yeah.
honestly, I don't even know like who my most favorite one out of that one was. I think it'd probably be James Marsden
Yeah.
for Cyclops. And
Yeah.
then
I think well, he's a fan favorite. Somebody it's kind of funny too because I saw somebody put because James Marsden is known for driving animated characters.
yeah.
There was like I forgot what the first movie was that he had the animated character. I forgot what that movie was called. But of course, he's got Sonic, and then somebody, made a Photoshop of like him as, of course, dressed up as Cyclops, and he has Rocket Raccoon in the passenger seat, and people are like, "Oh, come on, we have to do the trifecta now, right?" And I
Yeah.
forgot what that first movie was called that he was in. I don't know if it was like a Looney Tunes movie or it was something, but it was some kind of animated character. I don't remember. I don't think I ever saw that movie, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty
No, I'm
funny.
not too sure.
Yeah, but I thought, yeah, why not? They could make a joke with something like that, but then again, who knows how? I mean, that movie's so stacked and so huge. That I don't think they have time to do just little jokes, little meme jokes. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I I couldn't even guess like the budget that's going to be going into this thing.
Jesus Christ, half of it's going to Robert Downey Jr. for God's sakes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even doubt it.
Yeah, seriously. What's going on, Eric?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. How's it going, man?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Well, right now I'm finishing up my latest 2 liter of RC Cola. Remember last stream?
Oh, yeah.
And I also thought, and by the way, ever since like last stream, it really sunk in for me that like, hey, the wall behind me needs some sprucing up. So I decided submit it for your all approval. Here,
Of course.
here you may recognize is a Nuka-Cola poster from the Fallout franchise.
Nice.
Yeah. And I figured she'd be a nice little ideal kind of choice.
That's good. Man, you got to have something in the background, right? That's a good choice. Did you have that poster or did you purchase it?
Yeah, I purchased it because like the Walmart that we're in actually like was selling posters and all that, and I was looking at what would be a cool poster, and I saw the Fallout one. I'm like, I'm in. That's it. Yep.
What are you sipping on? What are you sipping on?
Well, like I said, I'm finishing up.
Yeah.
2 liter of RC. Yeah. So I decided, but also decided, in honor of a sad turn of events on HBO Max. Overture curtain lights. This is it. Tonight and night. No more rehearsing and messing apart. We know every part by heart. Anyone know that song?
No, it sounds familiar, but what is that?
It's Bugs Bunny's personal theme song, the Bugs Bunny Overture.
Oh, yep, that's why it sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yep.
Even though it seems one of the seems like they don't care about Looney Tunes anymore, though.
Which is sad because again, it's like Warner because Looney Tunes, like Bugs Bunny, has been their mascot for so long, and now they're just shrugging them off. Wow.
Well, the sad thing is, I mean, it's a new. We can bitch and moan about the studio, which we do a lot, but at the same time, they're probably crunching the numbers and looking at this new generation. Probably doesn't give a shit about the Looney Tunes. I wouldn't be surprised, like with Disney. I mean, it's not like Disney is putting out Donald Duck animated stuff or Mickey Mouse or anything like that. It seems, I mean, I don't think they're ever gonna get rid of their animated stuff and say like, oh yeah, we're bringing down all the this, that, and this.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah,
when was the last
certainly
time
not.
Disney post something
But-
when it comes to their actual animated characters? I think like when it comes to animated characters, like they're just looking at the new generation, just going, yeah, they don't care.
I know, but nonetheless, it's not like Disney's ever going to take any of the Mickey Mouse cartoons off of Disney Plus. I mean, as far as like Warner Brothers, like, why would you remove it? I mean,
that doesn't make sense to me. Why not have that library
Yeah,
there for people? Yeah.
Yeah, the only potential excuse that would make any kind of sense at all would be, oh, we just don't have the bandwidth to have all that stuff on the streaming service at one time. But which I'm like, we'll get to it then. That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly the problem with Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't get it, but good old Datsy Pants he's literally just lifting up all the couch cushions and every nook and cranny to find some change, to save some money and whatnot. But I don't know. What's going on, Axel?
Hey, how you guys doing? Hey, I collected this the other day.
Oh, watch out!
This
That's
it's an unofficial Lego minifigure. Pretty
Very
cool.
nice.
Oh, nice. Yep. And he's got the kryptonite spear.
Yep.
I like it. So why is it unofficial? Did you make it yourself?
Oh no, because I got it off like online and stuff, like AliExpress
so
and
it's
stuff.
not-
So
Somebody
I got
actually-
this cyborg one where he's got like the full helmet. You can't really see it because it's too dark.
Yeah, it's a little too dark. No, I know.
Yeah.
Like there were people that were doing that. I remember when all of Zack Snyder's Justice League McFarlane's came out, they didn't do a Wonder Woman one, so you had to get the Wonder Woman 84 one, but she didn't have the sword. So there was literally somebody online. I remember Scott was telling me that if you sent the Wonder Woman, the 84 Wonder Woman, to him, he would paint the red a little bit darker because it was lighter in 84. And then he would provide the sword and the shield for you and send it back. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I'm not going to do it, but that's pretty cool that somebody was doing like an unofficial, because, well, now we can actually get it. Now that McFarlane actually has it. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, it was kind of weird. I remember when I was trying to collect all the Zack Snyder Justice League McFarlane's, I was going, where the hell's the Wonder Woman one? And then I hit up Meg and she goes, oh, they didn't make one. You have to get the 84 one. I went, oh, no wonder I've been seeing them all over the place when I go to Target or something.
Yeah.
Walmart. There was like they were stocked up because people were not purchasing the 184 one, sadly. That poor.
Yeah,
guy.
Was there ever a cheetah McFarlane?
I don't think so.
figure?
I think they
Yeah.
only see her standard Wonder Woman and then the gold suit. That's all they did.
Okay.
And I didn't get. Did I get the gold suit? I don't even know. See, I don't even remember because no, I didn't get.
I got
gold.
the Shazam one with without the tiara and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a
I
bad
don't know.
choice they did.
But
yeah.
and then of course it sucks that DC and McFarlane's not going to be doing business after this year.
Yeah.
That's dumb. I don't know.
Who's doing the toys now?
Mattel is going to be doing it starting in 2026.
Okay.
I mean they're still okay, I guess. But McFarlane's, there's something about McFarlane's. Yeah. And they just unveiled like a whole new line of stuff. They have Batman Returns. They have some other DC things, and of course they're going to be doing a Superman line as well. But going to be interesting. Yeah. Are we avoiding those leaks? Yeah, if you haven't, don't say anything, please.
I'm not gonna say anything. It's just
I honestly don't know anything about that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not anything. There's not anything really big out there. I mean, obviously, it came to the Bradley Cooper stuff. It's mainly just how the movie's gonna be. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really. I don't know why people are making a big deal out of it.
Yeah. I mean, I did like raise my eyebrow a bit at the announcement. I'm like, Bradley Cooper? I mean, not exactly who I would cast as Jor-El, but I'm sure if he can deliver, I mean, great.
I mean, it's not gonna be a big role. I mean, Jor-El. I mean, I don't think it's gonna. I mean, it's never a big role. He's not front and center. I mean,
I'm
he'll probably
sure,
who knows how much he'll have in this movie. I don't know, but
yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's like
not like he's gonna get a spinoff.
yeah, exactly.
And of course, like I'm sure it's like not like Jack Black is who you would picture as Bowser, but he put on this magnificent, deep, booming voice, and I was like, "Whoa, that's Jack Black."
Yeah,
But
the voice, yeah.
I don't know, but at the same time, you can't really compare like an animated project to like
True.
a live action.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. But it's like true. It's like I'm sure it's like when you think Colin Farrell, you don't think that forget about it, New York City gangster like the Penguin, but he did it.
He did it. And I
Yeah.
mean, that's the thing. It's like sometimes, I mean, I still remember all the way back in 2008, 7, whatever the hell it was, 6, when they announced Heath Ledger. I went, what? Huh?
Yeah.
Everybody. I mean, that was before social media was social media. Imagine if that got announced now.
It's like
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those, like, wait, the Brokeback Mountain and 10 Things I Hate About You guy is going to be the Joker? What the hell? And then, of course, when we saw the first teaser and heard the laugh and heard his voice, it was like, oh, okay. And then we saw the image of him. It was like, okay, Christopher Nolan, let him do his thing. Let him do his thing. So sometimes when you see these castings, hey, guess what? You got to just got to see what happens. But I could see it. I could see it when I saw it. I went, you know what? I could see him as Jor-El. Put a beard on him, put a Kryptonian type of suit on him. Why not?
Yeah.
I just kind of wonder if he's going to end up being part of the marketing, like it was when it came to Superman 78 and Man of Steel. I mean, Jor-El was a big part of the marketing. It was part of the trailers.
Has Bradley ever played more of that dignified gentleman, like sort of character, or like someone who wasn't like particularly laid back? Because that's how I always pictured him. Like whether it was in any of the movies he's been in that I've seen, he's like the laid back type. Where again, like he's perfect as Rocket, but all those movies, it's like, but has he ever like been like stretched out beyond that range or much or what?
I don't know. I mean, I know there was like the movie he got nominated for that he'd also directed, right? Which is that the Maestro movie. I didn't see it, but I mean,
oh, that's right. Yeah, he was Leonard Bernstein.
Yeah, so I mean, that's when people were like, when I saw people like making fun of the whole thing, I'm like, what? Do you not think that Bradley Cooper has range? The dude's a director also, and he's got a lot of good qualities to him. He's not like some slouch. He's not like the dickhead from fucking Wedding Crashers or the Hangover movies. He's actually grown into a pretty reserved actor and has done great stuff. Like when it came to, what was that one movie with
Star Wars?
No, what was that? It was that one movie with Robert De Niro and what was the girl's name? God damn it. Where they were both weird and had quirks. What the fuck? Jennifer Lawrence. I couldn't even remember her name. What was that movie? I can't remember.
Joy?
No, it was called fucking A. What was it called? But it was a good movie. It got nominated for awards and everything too. Let's see. Bradley Cooper. Somebody. There we go. Thank you, Gilmer. Silver Linings Playbook. Yeah, it's a good movie. He got nominated for stuff and everything like that. But I mean, that was where Bradley Cooper was breaking into. Oh yeah, he could do drama stuff. So, and then of course there was the one movie who fucking directed that? God damn, I'm like totally blanking on Bradley.
Was that Paul Thomas Anderson? No. It wasn't Paul. Was it either Paul Thomas Anderson or was it David Russell?
David. Yeah, he did Silver Linings Playbook, I believe.
Yeah.
But what was that one movie that I'm surprised you don't know it, Eric? That because it's a noir, and I know you love noirs. It's that one movie that came out. What was it called? Nightmare Alley.
Oh, yeah. It's that because Nightmare Alley is one of those movies that. It's one of those movies that I have on my lineup of movies to watch. Really I just never got around to watching it. I'm just kicking myself for it.
I only saw it once, but it's really good.
Yeah,
it was. I really enjoyed that. But I forgot about that movie. In The Mule, Clint Eastwood. He was that agent. So So I mean, yeah, it's got a lot of.
Yeah.
Got a lot of, like he's not just like a comedy guy. Limitless, of course, was great.
Yeah. By the way, Nightmare Alley is actually a remake of a classic, 40s noir. I forget who was the star of that one. Oh, I want to say Jimmy Stewart, but I'm not sure. I don't think, maybe. I'm not sure. But it is a remake of a classic noir. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but yeah, check it out though. I think you'll definitely enjoy it, especially with like the fact that you love noir. It's a good movie. I have to revisit that. I totally forgot about it. It's all in the theater. I really enjoyed it, and I just haven't revisited it. I don't know where it's at on streaming, but
yeah, I was excited when it came out, but I hadn't gotten around to seeing it when it did, and I forgot about it too, basically. Even though I had it in my lineup of movies to watch.
And then of course there's American Hustle also.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, I just watched that. I didn't watch it. I started watching it because Hulu put it on, and I watched the beginning of it, but then I turned it off for some reason. I can't remember why, but yeah, there was also that one too. So I mean, he's no slouch, and he did have that cameo in Dungeons and Dragons, which was pretty funny.
No,
that little guy. It was a pretty funny one, but you know what, Jor-El, I could see it fine. Maybe they'll darken his hair. They'll give him a wig. He'll have a beard.
I think he'll have a bit of gray as well in his hair.
The what?
A little bit of gray in his hair.
Yeah, of course, maybe. But again, we have to remember that Jor-El, he wasn't an old man technically.
Yeah, that's true. Remember when Kurt Russell was considered?
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone else point out in the chat, this movie, I completely forgot he was in it. American Sniper. Yeah. And again, because I was wondering, has he ever been particularly different from the ranges? Like American Sniper is a very different role for him.
Yeah, I completely forgot about too when I was even looking through.
Yeah.
All the, stuff, but yeah, and then of course Star was Born. That's where he wrote and directed and starred in.
Lady Gaga.
Yeah. So, and then of course he learned how to play guitar. He sang. He did all kinds of things. So, yeah, the dude's no slouch for sure. Obviously, I mean, there was the A-Team as well. That movie was ridiculous.
Yeah, A-Team. Which, by the way, is enjoyable. I mean, I'm sure everyone's issue is that it isn't point for point like the show, but it's look, it's a good modern take of the show.
I think people are just like, oh, it's over the top. It's over the top. Yeah, it's supposed to be over the top. It's the A-Team.
He also produced the Joker movie, the first one, I think.
Yeah, he was a producer on it. Yeah, he was producing it with Todd Phillips. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he does a lot, and he also co-owns a Philly cheesesteak restaurant where he actually goes behind the counter and makes the cheesesteaks and delivers them to people. And he doesn't have to do that, and I love that. I don't know, just something about that. I just go, man, that you're a good guy in my book. If you actually get back in there and you're making the sandwiches and serving them to people, I mean, imagine going to go get a sandwich and you get served to you by Bradley Cooper. What?
But is that a Philly cheesesteak restaurant in Philly?
I think it is, yeah, because he's from Philly. But they do the food truck. They do the food truck thing, so I know he's shown up in different locations with a food truck, and it has served the sandwiches as well. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
all this talk about Philly cheesesteaks. I haven't had one since I moved up to New York, dude.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Speaking of Philly cheesesteaks, the town that I moved into, there's a place apparently that some dude opened that is from Philly that I've heard about. Because there's a guy that I follow on Instagram that goes around my area in California and SoCal. And he just finds spots, and all of a sudden it just popped up oh yeah, we got a Philly cheesesteak, and it was in I was like, oh shit, it's right. That's 2 miles away. Haven't tried it yet. I thought about doing it today, but didn't. But yeah, I have to check it out because apparently it's really good. Of course, it's pretty pricey. That's the bad part.
Well, he came from Philadelphia, so he's like, hey, this is an authentic Philadelphia cheesesteak, so you will get what you paid for.
You get what you pay for, and then of course, California's economy is not the greatest. So
that's it. That too.
Anyway, But let's see. We got Phil's folding his laundry.
Yeah, I'm almost done. Don't worry. It's funny.
Well, hey.
It's actually really funny. The shirt I'm actually folding right now is
Look at that.
bam.
It's
Superman.
Superman shirt.
There you go.
Man of Steel. That's right.
There you go.
I'll be done in a little bit. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's okay. I just thought it was funny. I saw you standing up. I'm like, all right, I'll bring you in right now. Why not?
You know, it's really ironic is like my name is Philip, and my nickname growing up, a lot of people are like, hey, Philly cheesesteak. And I'm like,
There
yeah,
it is.
cool. Never once in my life have I had a Philly cheesesteak.
Oh, wow.
Dead serious. So maybe, Dave, maybe this summer when I drive through SoCal, we'll stop and get a Philly cheesesteak somewhere.
Yeah, I'm telling you. If like I'm gonna try this place out that's over here. If it's as good as that one guy said, shit.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've never had one, you might as well stop by a Subway because Subways will every once in a while like make Philly cheesesteaks. So
No.
I mean, I eat Subway, but I've got my regular Subway, so I'm good off.
Sure.
I'd rather have an authentic one.
yeah,
I mean?
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Subway tries, but they're not
Yeah,
gonna get.
Subway tries like it's passable, but it's not the real thing. When you have the real thing, you know.
Yeah. But the thing about Subway is like, I don't know. I haven't had Subway in forever now. I got over it because I was
Again,
like,
you get
the
what
only
you
thing that
pay
I
for.
liked from Subway was their breakfast. Like you get like a breakfast sandwich, like they have the egg, and then you could get some like steak and some cheese, and they put it on some flatbread. Delicious. But other than that, everything else, I was just going. One of my really good friends, she actually works for corporate Subway. And she would even be like, yeah, some of this stuff is just shit. She would tell me, she's like, it's
What
just
is it with fast food joints and just having like god awful lunch menus, but having really solid breakfast menus? McDonald's,
Right?
Subway.
Yeah.
I don't fucking
Seriously.
get it, man.
sometimes the
Wow.
breakfast is always on point, right? Like I can go to Jack in the
always
Box
good.
and love it.
Yeah, it's always great, which really just frustrates me that McDonald's no longer does the 24-hour breakfast menu.
Yeah. And that's smart.
That is frustrating.
It's
Yeah, it
frustrating that
really
they did that because I mean, the only thing I like at McDonald's is like their breakfast, really. I mean, their fries
Yeah.
are good too, of course. But those McGriddles, when
They're
they came up with the
fresh.
McGriddles, I was
Yeah,
like,
when they're
wow,
fresh.
perfect breakfast sandwich. You got the sweet, you got the savory. Ah, I love that sandwich. That's
Oh,
like
yeah.
a perfect little breakfast
Dude.
sandwich right there.
Those
I'm more of a-
sausage biscuits in their hash browns are fucking to die for. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, and the steak and egg and cheese bagel is not one to miss either. Mwah.
I'm more of a KFC person, to be honest, but that's just me.
That tracks. That tracks.
How does that track?
Of course, now technically it's Texas fried chicken, even though they kept the name.
Yeah, I also like a good chicken sandwich, and that's hard to come by too. Even though Chick-fil-A is always a winner. But I
Oh
haven't-
man, I went there on a date for the first time last year.
Oh.
That was the first and last time. That's it.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah,
No.
sometimes they can
No, I did
miss.
not.
Sometimes they can miss if the sandwich has been sitting in that little heater in the fucking foil. Yeah, sometimes it could be shit. But if you get like the perfect, if you get it fresh, man, it's good stuff.
And for
But
me,
there's other places that have better chicken sandwiches.
yeah, I mean, like for me, like mainly because Chick-fil-A tends to be relatively pricey. It's like I always save my Chick-fil-A experience for June, July, and August
Oh, yeah,
because peach milkshake.
right? Yeah.
Mwah! Peach
Love that
milkshake,
shake.
absolutely.
I love
Yes,
that
kid.
shake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I still haven't tried it, but I'm not really big on it. When I get a shake, I want it chocolate. I'm one of those.
Yeah, I'm a
crazy
strawberry
people.
shake kind of guy.
Yeah, I don't know, chocolate. I mean, anytime when it comes to ice cream, it's hard for me not to get chocolate. Anything, I mean, you can add some stuff with it, but it's whatever. But yeah, 9 years.
9
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, crazy to think about. Do you guys remember your experience of like going to the movie theater and the anticipation? I mean, obviously, the anticipation of this movie was crazy. I mean, this is where in 2015 into 2016, that was a time, man. I mean, that was a whole other time where we've been. I mean, because it was just the anticipation and everything, and it seemed like DC and Warner Brothers were, hey, they're finally going to get they're getting their shit together, and they're going to definitely rival Marvel when it came to this. And everybody, I mean, obviously when it was announced at Comic-Con with that beautiful reveal with Harry Lennix and everything, it blew everybody's minds and the anticipation for it. And then when the footage came out and everything was coming about, there was so much hype leading up to it.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously they had that thing. And before we knew that the guy with the ball cap was kind of a, you know, a little bit of a sleaze. He did that thing with Kevin Smith where they kind of, you know,
Yeah.
they announced their
I remember
slate.
that.
Yeah.
Got me
I
so
remember
hyped.
watching that and just being so excited. Like, oh my God, it's happening. We're having like a big old DC universe and everybody's going to have their movies. There's going to be crossovers.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then it's just, wow.
Yeah, and then and all because you know you gotta cut 30 minutes from BVS because more screenings.
Yeah.
If that had never happened, oh, there would have been a much more positive experience with BVS. There wouldn't have been any there have been nearly as much blowback, and there wouldn't have been nearly as much push to reshoot Justice League. All because of
Suicide Squad.
Yeah. I mean, that like Dave said, that build up to that movie was just insurmountable. Like those from the summer of 2013 until March of 2016 was when it came to like comic book films. That was the film that was like on my mind nonstop 24/7. When I was working as a janitor, and every night, like when that teaser dropped in like I think is April of 15. Yeah, April of 2015. Like I just watched that teaser trailer on repeat, where you know it ends with Batman saying, "Tell me, do you bleed?" and fucking Superman drops on the ground. Oh my God. Like that movie, it's so funny to me that from just a quality perspective, there is no other movie that comes even close to the gravitas and just weight that movie has over anything. Like anything in the MCU doesn't fucking compare. I love Winter Soldier. I love No Way Home. I think those are really well-made movies, but just in terms of capturing the spirit of who these characters are and what they are truly capable of at their highest and lowest in a single movie, you have Batman and Superman, and then to top it off, Wonder Woman, and then Lex Luthor pulling the strings behind the scenes, playing Machination, playing Evil
and
Genius.
Lois Lane,
right?
Lois Lane
I saw that movie twice opening day. It was just
opening day. You saw it twice.
I saw it twice in the same day. So what happened was I made plans. I had taken the day off to go see the movie. Like everyone knew I was going to go see this movie that Friday. And what had happened was I had initially made plans to go see it with all my friends at 7:00. And I had the day off, and you know, silly weird me was like, I wonder if there's an earlier showing that day, because this is around the time they started like doing earlier showings on like release day or around release day.
Thursday, yeah.
It was I think it was a Thursday. Matter of fact, it might have been the 24th, because I had taken the 24th and the 25th off. But I had looked, and they had a showing for like 3:00 my time, and I was like, oh, well, okay. So I went to the 3:00. I bought a ticket to the 3:00 showing. I left my house at like 1:30, 2:00, something like that. I went and got Taco Bell, and I'd eaten my Taco Bell. I'd gotten to the theater. The line was starting to form for the 3:00 show, and I was like, oh, no fucking way. So I get in line. A couple other guys start lining up, and we're like, oh, fuck yeah, man. Fucking Batman, Superman, fucking Wonder Woman. What the fuck is going to happen, right? Walk in the movie, watch it. Mind is blown. Go outside, smoke a cigarette before my second showing, back when I did smoke. I come back into the second theater, and it's fucking crowded, just as crowded as the first showing was. And all my friends are there, and they're like, where the fuck were you? Where the fuck have you been? And I was like, oh, you know, I was just smoking a cigarette. I just got out of the movie. And one of my boys was like, what movie? And I was like, Batman versus Superman. And they were like, wait a minute, you watched the movie? And then like it just got dead silent in the theater. Everyone stopped talking, and they looked at me, and someone was just like, wait a minute, you've already seen the fucking movie? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, don't spoil a fucking word. And I was like, okay, I got you, no problem. I'm not saying a
don't
fucking
worry,
thing.
bud.
Like, all good in the hood, man. Like, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Twice in the same day.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me wonder too, like the fact that next year will be the 10-year anniversary, and the fact that this movie has been like how it is, would they do like a re-release and release the Ultimate edition again in theaters? You know, tie a popcorn bucket to it. I don't know. It would be kind of cool if that were to happen next year. Who knows? But I saw Adam in the chat say, I still have my BVS popcorn bucket. But so there
I
was
still got
a
a drink bucket up there somewhere.
Yeah, they did have a popcorn bucket for it, but it wasn't as elaborate as the popcorn buckets now. They need to have like a better one that just like, you know, that one was probably just like a standard, just had the decal around a standard popcorn bucket, I think.
Yeah.
So, but you know, it's something. It's a collectible. Keep it, Adam. I mean, that thing is going to be, you know, the fact that, you know, we always talk about that movie, and I mean, let's face it, no matter what, that movie just that shook up the CBM world. I don't care, love it or hate it. That fucking thing shook up the CBM world, where I remember having conversations with like coworkers or friends where they're like, wow, that movie was boring. I'm like, why did you think it was boring? I thought there was going to be more action. I'm like, there's a lot of action, but they had to fill in like a political thriller. Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't get what I guess they just wanted just full on. Yeah, but I mean, I won't lie. Like, I even thought, like, when I first watched it, I went, oh yeah, it wasn't as what I thought it was going to be, and I still loved it. But then I was like, yeah, well, maybe if it was like this and like that. But then, of course, when the Ultimate Edition came out, all those questions and all those kind of like things that I had, specifically when it came to Lois and her parts, I went, oh, okay, a lot of her stuff was cut out, and a lot of this other stuff like that I had questions about. When the Ultimate Edition came out, it kind of just resolved all the issues that I actually had with the Theatrical, which was funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because we're going around like talking about our experiences when it first came out. I have the very weird experience because I have a weird convoluted point of pride in the fact that I've never seen the theatrical cut. I've only seen the Ultimate cut because like, really? For whatever reason, I just was not able to get around to like going to the theater on that opening. And when all the stuff came out about what a mess it was, but there's an extended cut coming later. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm waiting for the extended cut then. And when the extended cut came out, I bought it, put it in my Blu-ray, watched it, and I was like, this is one of the best superhero movies I've ever seen.
Interesting. So you didn't even see the theatrical. Wow.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons why, like when with Rebel Moon coming out and they announced like that whole convoluted like, we'll do like a PG-13 version and then we'll do the R-rated version. I'm like, I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait for the full cut.
I don't know. There's part what I like about it is like I want to see what's different. I'm all about like, hey, what's different?
Sure. Yeah, if it were like actually like he filmed two completely different versions of whatever scenes, okay, fine, fair enough. But I was just anticipating it would be just like a bunch of stuff was cut that was important. That was my fear. So I was like, no, I'm going to wait till the full cut because I avoided that problem last time. I'm not going to, the first time with BVS, I'm not going to fall for it this time.
No, that's good. I mean, I guess that makes sense. But I still remember when they started talking about the Ultimate Cut, you know, which is probably about 7 months later. And and I you know, it's one of the things that I'll have to, if we get Zach on here one of these again, I'll have to ask, like, because one of the things that was shown in the promo of the Ultimate Cut at first was obviously that shot of Batman on the security footage that Lex is looking at, and he drops down and grabs that guy. And it's like one of the coolest, one of the most Batman things you'll ever see. And it's so quick. And I remember when that was released, I went, why the fuck would you even cut that? That's like, it was like literally 2 seconds. And why would you not have on that? Cameo. Why would you not have that in the theatrical? And I almost think that Zach was like, well, I already know the Ultimate's going to be coming out. I'm going to save this. I think in his brain, he went, you know what? I'm going to save this. This is something that's really cool that I know people are going to love. I'm going to save it. I have a feeling that was the case because it's just there's no reason why that shouldn't have been on the theatrical. Because it was literally a 2 second like shot.
Yeah.
And I was like, why the fuck would you cut that out? That is the most Batman thing I've ever seen live action.
And more than that, like so many of the things that the Ultimate Edition had that the actual cut didn't were these brief moments that where oftentimes people will say, like, when like something goes wrong in a movie scene, there'll be like one line could have saved it. One line. Well, Ultimate Edition is filled with those one lines that explain everything.
Like they explain how Superman didn't see the bomb coming. I'm like, why would you cut that?
Yeah.
It's like I had heard over and over and over again that the Ultimate Edition was originally going to be more or less a theatrical cut, except for, telling Zack to get rid of some of the blood so it could be PG-13 instead of R-rated. But then at some point late in the process, Tsujihara said, no, we need to cut it down, get more screenings. That's what I heard. I don't know if that was confirmed, but...
And it's so stupid too, because why? I mean, blood. It wasn't like he had like super gory moments. It was just blood splatter, and you could have that in PG-13 movies.
Yeah,
but then again, this was 9 years ago. But
I mean, it was a lot less of an R-rated moment than when Wallace says to Lex Luthor, "Yeah, well, what the f do you want?"
Yeah,
and you also had that part where KG Beast push that woman into like the train and stuff. So I mean,
oh yeah, they totally got rid of that. Yeah, I mean that was part of Lois's arc. That's the thing.
But even then, it's not like we see her getting run over.
Yeah, we don't see that. But that's the thing that also fucked up the story too, because it was just like, who's this woman that is just trying to accuse Superman of killing people? And then there wasn't really much of it when it came to the theatrical, because you didn't see all those parts where Lois was investigating and trying to figure out what the hell's going on with this. And it just, everything just got choppy. And when you lose that part of the story, you start going, well, what the fuck's Lois actually doing here besides just being conveniently showing up in certain spots? But then you watch the Ultimate Edition and go, oh, okay, she was actively trying to prove, obviously, Superman's innocence, because she obviously is in love with the dude and knows that he's innocent. So she was doing her due diligence, but they cut all that shit out.
Yeah.
And it was just like, what the fuck? Like, why even do that? And then specifically, like, the lead lining of the bomb.
Yeah,
was like a big thing. I think a lot of I remember even I remember talking to my buddy Johnny, who I saw it with. I remember just kind of going like, wait a minute. I mean, if you didn't see the bomb, there had to be like lead involved, right?
Yeah.
Also, they made it out like Superman just left everyone in like pain.
And then we didn't get that scene where he was literally pulling people out of the wreckage and
and then like one guy says, we got it covered, and it's like
which is a very great scene.
And here's another goodie. In the theatrical cut, isn't it like we kind of get the idea that Batman is branding these criminals so that they will get killed in the prison? But in the Ultimate Edition, we realized that no, all of that, the guys getting killed in prison, was Lex Luthor framing Batman, making him look bad.
Yes, there was like if you compare both versions, there's more of an extended scenes when it comes to the prison scenes, where you actually get a sense of like, no, it's not like, it's not like that. That's what's so crazy about it. And I can't even imagine, doing that. I mean, I know Zach's known for his, his extended cut, his director's cuts, but I mean, it's got to be so rough to take what you film and you have like, you get that first initial cut. And I get like you have to trim the fat. I mean, obviously, I'm editing every day when it comes to certain things, and you have to do certain things. But I just can't imagine like when you have the story that you're trying to tell, and you have to cut things out that fuck up,
especially with their performances. It's just
And and the excuse of we got to have more screens, it becomes all the more ridiculous when you remember how long were the Lord of the Rings theatrical cuts? 3 hours each. And now the extended cuts are even longer, but still, it's not like they had, Peter Jackson, we need to cut it down to have more screens. No, because it's what you need, the story needed.
Yeah. Yeah, business stuff. I mean, that's why those guys aren't there anymore. I mean, because somebody brought up a good point in the chat earlier. They said like the Batman ended up being 3 hours. Yeah, because I think like they kind of learned their lesson a little bit, and they were like, hey, we got this. We got this dude who is a renowned director, and he made something that we want to see the full thing, and it ended up benefiting. It ended up being successful. Of course, it didn't make $1 billion, sure, but it still made Warner Brothers money. And yeah, and that's what sucks too when it comes to all that. But at the same time, it is a business, and they can see why they wanted more screens. Obviously, they were really pushing to be like, but it kind of sucks too, because I mean, it is funny and I'm sure we'll find out more in the future about what Batman vs Superman was supposed to be initially. I mean, I always have to say it. I've said it many times on streams where, especially when people say like, hey, no compromise. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Good slogan. It's great to have that, but there's always going to be compromise when it comes to movie making. You always have to have compromise.
Yes, I always
if there was
say
no
that.
compromise, Batman vs Superman would not be the movie that we got.
It wouldn't even have been Batman v Superman. Or remember all the pre-production like art, the art of Metallo.
Yeah. Well, that was part of Batman vs Superman. It was still Batman vs Superman. It was David Goyer's script that Zach helped on.
Yeah, because like originally, like it wasn't going to be Wallace Keefe, getting like a wheelchair and blowing up Capitol Hill. No, originally he was going to be John Corbin, and it was going to be Metallo, and then that was what was going to lead to the ultimate, conflict.
Yeah.
Would have been interesting, and it would have been much more of a specifically Superman story, but the version that we got is essentially World's Finest leading into the Dark Knight Returns battle.
Pretty much. But I know. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like it was less.
Actually, not World's Finest. Sorry, not World's Finest. Public Enemies, because Lex Luthor is like framing both of them, and
yeah.
But yeah, it was just going to be, But the original take on Batman vs Superman was going to be a lot more action, less political thriller. But then, but I think when Ben Affleck was just kind of going, and let me bring in Chris Terrio to have a run at it. Maybe we could do something a little bit different here. And I'm sure studio pressure was already happening, when it came to Zach, like, because again, he had Christopher Nolan that was like going, nope. When it came to Man of Steel, it was like, nope, let the guy do his thing. You guys got to stay back. And the studio was like, all right, Chris, we trust you because it's, because obviously what he did with the Dark Knight trilogy. So, but then he didn't really, Zach didn't have that when it came to BVS. So that's where shit started going. That's where studios started going like, well, wait a minute. But then, it was nice that Ben Affleck was like, hey, let's bring in Chris Terrio and let's, do something here. Yeah. I mean, I'm still curious to see like, in another universe somewhere we get that original full on, Batman vs Superman. I'm kind of curious of like, what would
Metallo,
with Metallo. We saw the concept art where he just looks crazy.
I think Batman would have had like a different armor or something, because it looked more like that one he had when he was fighting the Court of Owls in the comics.
I know for a fact that Chris Terrio talked about how the ending was very deliberate in that he deliberately went out of his way to change the fact that Batman continued to brand people at the end of the movie. And Terrio was like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. Batman doesn't learn a goddamn thing. I'm not going to have Batman do that. So he rewrote the ending to have Batman punch the emblem behind Lex Luthor. Just punch it behind him instead of actually branding him. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like Batman actually fucking learned something by the end of that movie.
Emphasizing more of a redemption arc.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, leading into that, which then leads into Justice League, where
I forget. Like, did he talk about that? Did Terrio talk about that here? Was that that was Justice Con, wasn't it? Where he talked about that? I think it was
Justice Con. It wasn't Full Circle. It was Justice Con. I think. So. Yeah.
Because
by the way, you know how like all like the folks that are like the haters of Batfleck and all that, were obviously they were pointing to how Christian Bale was better Batman, yada yada yada. I was like, hey guys, who wrote the Christian Bale like Dark Knight trilogy? Chris Terry. No, David Goyer. And who wrote the original Batman v Superman, where Batman would have remained a lot more edgy? David Goyer. Yeah. So I don't know what to tell you guys, but it was the same guy writing both versions.
I think David Goyer is a good writer. I don't think there's anything wrong with the way he adapts superheroes into a modern context. I mean, he was responsible for the Constantine show on NBC. So there is that. He's responsible for a lot of different shit. He's written for DC Comics too. I know he came under a lot of fire for some of his comments about She-Hulk and I think Miss Martian a while ago, like a good decade ago. But yeah, I don't think he's necessarily a bad writer. But you know, what really it boils down to, like, you can have a great writer, but it also kind of helps to have a director look at what they wrote and adapt it their way and essentially bring a vision. You don't have a lot of directors with a vision these days, and I think that goes over a lot of people's heads. Case in point, when it comes to James Gunn's Superman, people are completely missing the point of like what he's trying to go for, and they're just being reductive about it. Oh, it's just going to be another Guardians of the Galaxy. Ha ha ha! Like he's going to do dick and fart bullshit. I've even said that. I said that before he started making the movie. I'll own it. And you know, if the trailer comes on Monday,
I love that you do own that. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's good. No, it's good that you know, and I think, it is interesting. But yeah, when it comes to Goyer, if you look at his filmography, look at his writing credits, it's crazy how much he's written. It's crazy just how much he has written. And but then of course, you know, he's had his foul ups. I mean, he was part of the Blade franchise, being a writer on those movies. And then when it came to Blade Trinity, he was like, well, I'm gonna also write it and direct it. And then it ended up not being so great. It really, I mean, I could watch it because, you know, it's not unwatchable, but at the same time, the whole idea of like, hey, we're bringing back Dracula and this, that, and this, and the way that it got brought about. I mean, I always just look at Blade Trinity as Ryan Reynolds, you know, fucking audition for Deadpool, because as Hannibal King, it was essentially just Deadpool right there. So, but you know, he's just been around. He's been around the block. He's got. It's crazy when you actually, especially when it comes to writers, and you do an IMDb and you see what they've written. You go, oh shit, I didn't know they wrote on that. What the fuck, you know? So, I mean, David Goyer is not a hack like some people say. He's he's a good writer. He's just had some foul ups. He's had some missteps. You know,
David Goyer's not Joss Whedon.
Everyone has a bad day at the office.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then somebody Gilmer just brought up The Foundation. I know he was like a head writer in that. And I've heard really good things about that series. I haven't watched it, but I've heard really good things.
Well, you know, having read the original books, I heard that like the series like really like it starts off with the same idea, but then it goes in a completely different direction. So it's just make what you will of that.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, when it all came out, I mean, it was obviously in the movie theater, the biggest, the moments like Wonder Woman saving Batman's ass was just like no matter what, it was just crowd cheering. There's just something. I mean, that entrance will never. I think it's gonna be hard to top that, because you know, and when it comes to entrances in movies altogether. I mean, just the way that all just played out, where it was just like, oh shit. And then it was like, I mean, it's literally Batman saying, oh shit, putting his hands up, and then Wonder Woman just jumping down. And then the way that it's close up on her and she pulls the gauntlets away and the music just kicks in. I mean, just even talking about it right now, there's goosebumps running down my legs.
Yeah, steady. Although I will say, like, that does bring me to, that's another example of like how trailers nowadays spoil crap, because that scene, like, the moment I saw that happen in the trailers was like the big thing is like, I get it, like it's a money shot of having all three heroes together, but the whole thing, like spoiling Doomsday and all of that in that trailer, I just went, what were you thinking?
Yeah. You know, at first I didn't actually think that was Doomsday at first, like, because like this was young.
They made it pretty clear. It was like,
because I thought that was like Parasite or something, but I was wrong until I looked into it, because like he had the heat vision and stuff, and
although you know what is also like what is funny about the trailer, like earlier on, you hear like where like the first part of the trailer is the Batman Superman fight, and you hear the Dark Knight Returns line, it's time you learned what it means to be a man. And
That
I will
was only
say,
promotional footage, but yeah.
purely promotional. It's not in the movie, and I admit I was a little disappointed that it wasn't in the movie because like because in the moment in the fight where Clark is trying to punch him and he can't because now the kryptonite gas is working on him. I would have liked if Bruce had said that line, because that would have been the perfect moment for the line, but instead he said something else like, "You're not brave, men are brave," and then that would have been followed up by, "So it's time you know what it means to be a man." That would have been a nice moment to put, but I was a little disappointed that was in the trailer but not in the movie. But that's just me.
Yeah. Jade, you've been quiet. What was your first experience like when you saw it in the movie theater, right?
Yeah, I think I didn't see it like within the opening month, honestly. I think it was either the month after or like right before it was probably gonna go to digital.
Mm-hmm.
I remember taking my family to go see it because I think what really made me want to see it was I remember we were at a rent center just looking for couches for our apartment at the time. And then obviously they had like the TVs displayed. And I vividly remember one of the TVs playing Man of Steel. And so that kind of sparked my interest because at the time I didn't even see Man of Steel in theaters at all. Unfortunately, I missed out. I wasn't really in the loop at that time. I really wish I was, but
Yeah.
I remember I'm going to see it with a bunch of my family members, and I was excited because after that, I was also pretty much into like reaction channels and just watching like the reactions to trailers.
Yeah.
I think I also vividly remember watching this one reaction channel. I think it was the trailer that unveiled Doomsday. And this dude, he was just screaming at the top of his lungs. He was like, "It's that fucking Doomsday!" And that was just hyped because I was in middle school at the time. And I was just watching videos, and I'm just like, I need to see this in theaters.
I mean, much like how like today is too, and I even said last night, I'm very much prepared to be spoiled by everything because it's hard not to be. And I got spoiled by BVS. I mean, I kind of took everything with a grain of salt. Like I was like, I heard that Doomsday was in it. I heard that Superman was gonna die. But at the same time, I was like, well, maybe this shit might not play out. But then, of course, they showed the trailer, and I went, okay, so Doomsday's in it. That's Doomsday. They Warner Brothers spoiled themselves. But then I was just like going, I remember even telling my friend Johnny, who when we went to go see it, and when I knew that when Clark was just like gonna fucking sacrifice, you could tell like it was gonna happen, and I started like, I've said it before, I started like just tapping. I'm like, oh, they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it. I told you, they're gonna kill Superman, they're gonna kill Superman. It was like one of those things. But I mean, and then I was just, and I know a lot of people complain that, oh yeah, well, there's only one movie, so it didn't have an impact. And I'm like, well,
you know what I hate about that argument?
Had an impact for me,
You know what I really hate about that argument is like people are like, oh man, they killed Superman in his second cinematic appearance. I'm like, Superman's had fucking 5 movies before that. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What really?
Like, they're talking about like this Superman. We didn't Cavill. We didn't know him.
Yeah, and also when you keep in mind that like the original plan was like the whole reason Zack Snyder was brought in was for originally like a Superman Dark Knight trilogy, and when you keep that in mind, the death of Superman at the end of the second movie makes a lot of sense. Where the whole point is that when he comes back, he's speaking of hope and all that.
That's also on Warner Brothers to an extent too, because for years they had been pushing writers to be like, "Yeah, use Doomsday. Yeah, use Doomsday." They did it to Kevin Smith. It's like, what the fuck do you expect? You want to use Doomsday? You follow through with that.
Movie? The only movie.
And it's so great that it's not the actual Doomsday. It's
it's a
clone. It's a version. It's not the
and he looks exactly like the baby, like the person who actually creates him, Bertrand, in the comics. He looks exactly like that. If you just took away the spikes Looks exactly like how he does in BVS.
And I always loved when Ben Affleck said that, oh yeah, people want instant gratification, and people that's the thing is people want instant gratification. It's like, no, they're trying their best to be like, okay, this is a Lex Luthor creation that he created from Zod, and you know, he used Kryptonian technology and everything to create it, to create this ultimate beast that the ship knew about the actual Doomsday. And then it was like anytime that he got angry, it was essentially he started powering up, he started growing the spikes, he started getting
he went from like he got more muscular. He got more muscular over time.
Well, it's really funny too, because like there's a book that kind of goes over the origins of Doomsday or Darkseid. I don't remember which one it is exactly, but there's a point in their history where they have crossed past fucking eons before Darkseid ever went to Earth or Doomsday ever landed on Earth. Like there's a point where they literally they are going to go to blows like Batman and Superman do in BVS, and it's a fight that takes place on a desolate planet. It is fucking gnarly. So I wonder if like maybe Zach was going to do something like that somewhere down the line, just to allude to the fact that there is a real ass Doomsday out there somewhere. But
like, didn't the real Doomsday like destroy the Krypton moon?
Yes. There's like that little origin when it comes to it. Yeah,
I think I did a drawing for that with Doomsday, the real Doomsday fighting Darkseid. Yeah, it was.
That's cool.
Yeah,
it's a gnarly fight in the comics. I don't remember exactly which book it was, but I remember reading it and just thinking to myself, like, oh wow, Darkseid and Doomsday have crossed paths before. That's pretty wild that two of Superman's biggest enemies have in fact like thrown blows with each other. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Who won?
Well, I mean, it was kind of a stalemate. They both kind of walked away from it.
True. Okay. But it's like if you keep in mind if they were to work that into the Snyderverse, like that would be a fun thing that the original Darkseid, the big Darkseid, like got like was like Darkseid fought him and beat him, and that just underlines Doomsday killed Superman, and a bigger Doomsday who got beat by Darkseid, and now Darkseid's coming.
I see what you're saying. It would definitely power scale Darkseid to be much more powerful than Doomsday. Yeah,
raise the stake.
But I mean, one of the things that I, especially thinking about it, obviously with the anniversary, and I was thinking even about it today, and when we were talking about it last night, obviously trailers. Goddamn trailers. I kind of wonder if like if they just had that first teaser trailer and that was it, would that have, I don't know. There's just it was that all that could have been like needed. I mean, obviously the Comic-Con trailer that came after that was awesome as well, and we got a little bit more of just that, but there was no hinting of the team up. No, I mean there was Wonder Woman. You see Wonder Woman in that one, but I mean,
it's funny. It's funny because even though not showing the team up and all that, say what you will about Ben Shapiro, but he had this great point that if you had gone into the movie theater not having seen those trailers that revealed Superman, there would have been a lot more of this element of mystery to Gal Gadot's character, because it isn't until very late in the movie that we actually hear her name. It's like Diana Prince. And then it's so for much of the movie, we're wondering, is this supposed to be Selena Kyle? Is this Catwoman? Especially with the whole thief. Am I really a thief if I'm stealing for another thief? And we're guessing as to who this person is. And it's the big reveal that it's Wonder Woman. Everyone in the theater goes, oh, imagine the impact of that.
Yeah. No, I mean, there probably could have been a lot more of people going, holy shit, that was way more than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be these two fighting, but it was a lot more that was involved. And Jesus Christ, Wonder Woman's in here. And then, of course, obviously nobody knew that there was going to be the other Justice League people in there, which is
there was Aquaman. There was Aquaman that was
Aquaman. Well, Aquaman, Flash, and Cyborg, we see all the stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what's funny about that too is that wasn't originally in the when they were in the original script either. I mean, that was from what I gathered from my information when I was getting when I was talking to that certain someone, it was there was not going to be any mentions of there was not going to be any Flash, Aquaman. Well, then again, I don't know, like, because obviously the Flash thing. I don't know. I just heard that that the studio was going, hey, we need to get to Justice League as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So they put the pressure on to be like, hey, we got to start getting more of the players in there. And obviously they did a great job when we see Flash show up with, in the Batcave. And I remember freaking out going, oh my God, he's traveling through time. He's on the cosmic fucking treadmill. I
didn't even know that was the Flash at first. Like when I was first watching it, I was like,
oh yeah,
that looks like it looked like Iron Man to me. But then I was like, oh wait, this makes a bit more sense.
That was the moment I leaned forward in my theater going, what the fuck is going on right now? Because it was immediately after the nightmare scene, and you're just like, wait a minute. The gears start turning. Like, did Bruce really just have a nightmare, or did he like have a premonition from a distant future? That's where the gears really started to turn. And then, of course, Warner Brothers chicken shit on that and completely walked it all back.
I still remember somebody before the first trailer came out, first teaser, or was this? I don't know. It was somebody was texting me, or not texting me, but messaging me, and basically saying like, "I saw something. You're not gonna believe it, but guess what? Batman like breaks someone's neck." And I went, "What?" I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. You just break someone's neck. But they were talking about the nightmare scene when all those soldiers were going, and you see that shot when he's on his knees, and he does, in fact, break someone's neck. So this person saw the footage already somehow. But he was specifically going, I swear to God, he breaks a dude's neck, but he didn't give me the context. So I was going, I just don't think they would go that far where Batman's just breaking necks like that. But then it was funny because after the trailer came out and you actually see that in the trailer, you actually kind of see him like, do that. Then that guy was like, I told you. I'm like, yeah, but you didn't give me any context, man. This is like, this is him in a trench coat. And this was like, we still didn't know the context of like, why is Batman wearing a trench coat? And there's,
why are there soldiers?
Yes.
Like with Superman emblems.
Yeah, there was still no context. And I was like, okay, fine. I guess he's breaking that guy's neck. But what the fuck is going on? Because that doesn't even make sense. It doesn't seem like this is even modern day. What the hell's going on? And then, of course, when you see it, you go, okay, now it all makes sense. It's like, Jesus Christ. The fact that Zach was like, hey, we're going to do this nightmare sequence. It's a future thing. We're going to have this awesome shot. We're going to show the Omega symbol. We're going to tease Darkseid,
parademons with
future, and have parademons. And it's just like, holy shit. I mean, just to have the balls to kind of do that, because it wasn't like just like a normal, hey, parademons are invading. Here's a boom tube, and they come flying out of it. No, this was like a premonition, like we were talking about. I mean, to do something like that in this movie, I don't know. It's to have that in there, it's very, very fucking ballsy.
It's brave and bold.
Zing.
He said it.
He said the thing. He said the thing. But yeah, I mean, I saw it twice in the movie theater though, and then of course when the Ultimate Edition was being teased and talked about, and I couldn't wait for that. And then of course when you watch it, you go, holy shit. And then what I always have talked about is good old John Schnepp, man.
Yeah,
dude. I mean, he was critical for the theatrical. He was not a fan. He wasn't not that big of a fan. But the 180 that he had, because I remember when it premiered, and then they did like a live stream. And I don't know if it was Collider or whatever who he was working for, and I was watching it because I, even though like I didn't agree with him with certain things, I still really respected the dude. I really liked the dude. And then when he said like, man, he basically said that he did a 180. Like this is the movie that I wish we got in the first place, because he just he kept emphasizing how this is the movie. Yes, this is good. This is good. What we got with theatrical, they were missing too much shit. I have flipped, and I actually really liked, he was basically just like just raving about the movie. This is the movie that I was hoping
for. A lot of critics said that. Like, a lot of critics did that 180 when the theatrical came out. Yeah.
Well, Schnepp had been behind the documentary "The Death of Superman Lives," so
Yep.
it doesn't shock me at all that he would be more favorable of a complete cut of a movie as opposed to some 30-minute less studio cut of it that just tried to appease a seat accommodation. Just crazy to me, absolutely fucking insane to me. But
Exactly. Yeah.
And you gotta
such is
love it.
life.
Yeah.
Such is life.
Yeah.
It's times like these where I just go back and reminisce and just try to imagine how this would have all played out if none of this fucking bullshit happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And
No cutting for no cutting of 30 minutes for the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
Not even just that.
Justice League, and then just letting everything play out. I mean, honestly, if they would have just let everything play out the way it was, we could have still already had the reboot, because Zach by this time we already would have had his sequels and he would have been done with telling his story.
So let me ask you something.
Who knows what but Warner Brothers could have just already, hey, I will just do a reboot, or they could have just continued, who knows. But Justice League was supposed to come out in 2017. The sequel was supposed to probably come out in 2020, 19, 20?
2019.
2019 and then 20. Yeah. So it would have all been done. That slate would have been complete that they announced.
So I got a question for you. Do you think that he would have done, because he said he wanted to do the 5 movies, Man of Steel, BVS, Justice League 1, 2, 3. Do you think he would have taken it upon himself to helm that second Flash film with Reverse Flash revealed to be the big string puller behind it all?
I think he would have. I think if they were setting up, the fact that Thawne was being the manipulator and everything. Yeah. I would not be surprised if everything went well and in the movies were doing well. And I would not be surprised. I'll direct the Flash movie. I just would not be surprised.
Yeah, just like Flashpoint, that Flashpoint and classic Flashpoint as essentially the X-Men Days of Future Past for the Snyderverse, and then a nice little tie it up in a bow, and then we can move on if you want.
Yeah. No, I think there probably would have, or at least he would have been heavily involved in the process, produced it, obviously. I mean, who knows? But I just wouldn't be surprised unless he was just going, all right, I've done, 5 movies. Jesus Christ, I want to do something else.
Although remember, in the interview, after the Snyder Cut came out, when he was talking about, yes, I had the 5 movie arc, but he had talked about, doing another Man of Steel standalone after that with Brainiac or something.
Yeah, that was always on the table too. But
yeah,
I think the fact, because he even said in interviews that he kind of brought up the idea. Well, what about Batman? And I think that just got all the suits in the room a fucking boner, because it's you say Batman in Warner Brothers, everybody just goes, okay, I'm listening. So I think that might have been, that as soon as he said that in whatever meeting, there was just no hope for just a standard Man of Steel sequel.
But true, but also remember, like he said himself, that the point was that at the end of the 5 movie arc, Superman, when he puts back on the blue
suit, now the Superman that everybody wants.
The Superman that everybody wants, and then it's almost like the way he was talking about the Brainiac film is that now that Superman is the beacon of hope we all want, then we can go into a classic Superman movie with Brainiac or what have you.
Yeah, I don't think he would have directed it though after 5 movies. He probably would have been obviously heavily involved and of course produced it. I just don't think he would have actually full on directed it. He probably would have got somebody, just like how the sequel to 300, he's involved in that process.
Or Army of Thieves.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
It would have been that kind of situation. I think he would have moved on to something else, but he would have been, and there should have been if that was the case, again, if everything just worked out the way it did, and if everything worked and was successful, we probably wouldn't be getting, there would be a continuation, but then who knows? You never know. But at the same time, I think after that Justice League arc and everything like that, there would have been a full on, hey, let's just do a standard sequel to, or just a standard Superman follow up, and not have But then, of course, there could have been cameos or whatever the hell. But yeah, I don't think Zach would have actually directed.
And Batman would have been dead after Justice League 3.
Obviously.
True. Yeah.
Well,
Batman would have been dead, although Clark's son would have taken up the mantle eventually to be like a young brute Batman.
That would have been so interesting to see.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Batman Beyond, but instead of old Bruce, it's old Alfred. There you go.
Aquaman was almost very different too. The first film would have featured, some third act finale with a couple members of the Justice League coming to help him take out. And
it was going to be set in
Atlantic Army.
Sydney.
Yeah,
it was going to be set in Sydney. I was like, what the fuck? This would have been awesome.
Which, by the way, would have been like DC giving like Marvel the finger, because what was the thing that everyone was complaining about with the MCU? It's like, if there's these big disasters at the end of in the climax of these standalone movies, where are the other Avengers? Well, and here we are. In this Aquaman, here's the Justice League coming in to help out if he needs them.
I mean, X-Men 97 does that, answers that perfectly. We do see other heroes, but I mean, it is animated, so I mean,
Captain America does make an appearance in, I think it's the 7th episode. No.
Yep.
Yes. Yes. 7th episode.
Daredevil as well.
Yep.
You get Cloak and Dagger,
Cloak and
Iron
Dagger.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow. Yeah, that show is just so good. X-Men 97. Oh my god. I could not get enough of that show. That show is just top tier Marvel storytelling at its best.
On that note, have any of you guys seen the What If show?
Yeah, I haven't seen the last
season one. Season one only. Yeah.
A little bit mild spoilers, but in season 3, Storm from X-Men 97 shows up, and she's in a and it was and watching this, I was like Storm, and then I was like, is that who I think it is? And I looked it up. Yeah, it's the same Storm that voiced her in the 90s series, and because she's back for X-Men. So this is sort of kind of introducing the classic X-Men being worked into the MCU in a multiverse kind of way. But yeah,
it's crazy what you could do with animation. Am I right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Don't say the A word. Don't say the A word.
Don't say the A word.
No, Dave, live action or bust, because I'm entitled.
The A word is worse than any. It's worse than any slur you could ever say.
Yeah, but like I've been saying, it's look, guys, we've gotten to that point where all the actors are pretty much getting on in years where if you were to somehow a miracle were to occur and they would come back to do a live action movie, you could not do the sequels that Zach had planned because they're all too old. So you would have to completely retcon it and do a Kingdom Come thing, which I get was what some people want, but it was not that story. So these guys who are complaining, live action or bust, are saying, so you would much rather have a very different story then, just to get it live action?
I go back to Batman 66, the Cape Crusader animated movies. It's there's a perfect example of just these actors are a little too old to be putting on spandex, but you can still take their voices and do something with them.
Yeah,
and same with that Scott Pilgrim show. I didn't watch it. But I know it was.
It wasn't bad.
I actually did a fan cast. I did a fan cast of who would voice the Justice League in these animated movies. So
oh yeah, I think I saw you post that. Yeah.
Yeah, do you have Brad Splinter voicing
Batman?
Batman?
But that's the thing. That's what's so. I mean, again, and everybody here. I mean, obviously, we're not one of those live action or nothing kind of thing. I mean, but at the same time, anytime that I've seen people. I've seen when I go down my For You page, some of those guys just show up, and people just they don't directly call me out, but they'll say can you believe they'll show the ending of Zack Snyder's Justice League, can you believe that people want animation after this? And I'm like, that's not what we're saying. You fucking comprehend what we're saying here.
And what do they think? Sorry, you go first.
Again, as you've been saying a lot, Dave, it's like if they were to do a live action, these guys like they're pretty busy and would not have the time to do a whole live action movie. They would be a lot more likely to have time to come in for a few days and record their voices, but not to do all those action stuff on set. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if they don't come back, you could have somebody voice
actors.
And be like, and they sound like them. That's happened before, you know. That's happened in the What If series, where you have, hey, that looks like Tom Holland Spider-Man, but is it Tom Holland? No. That looks like Robert Downey Jr., but is that Robert Downey Jr.? No. It's like, you know, obviously you pay the actor for the likeness rights, and then you just have somebody else that could do their voice close enough. And that's it. And guess what? I don't know. I guess we're just the crazies that want to see the what Zach had, you know, entitled.
And also and also like with animation style, what do people think we mean when we say, oh, they should do it animated? Like
like cartoons, like children's cartoons. Right?
Yeah. Like why not do something like where it's like Love, Death, and Robots or something, where it's hyper realistic. That's the closest thing to live action you can get.
Well, look at what that's saying. That when Zach posted, you know, the whole thing, and that one guy, what's his name? I've talked about Jared Purrington. He did concept art with Zach. You know, I talked about him, and then he did that. He showed that animated shot. It was like 6 seconds of like Superman pulling the ship, and it looked beautiful. That animation style looked gorgeous. And he's had other, you know, his style looked really cool. I'm like, yeah, something like that. What I don't know. I don't see what the big deal is. It's like, but at the same time, I think it's just a never-ending battle. I mean, of course,
they've made this their entire personality.
That's what it is.
Just like, it's sad to see that, and I'm like,
And like I've said many times, like Zach could easily like talk with, you know, Robert Zemeckis and Hideo Kojima. Like those two have been masters of realistic animation. Yeah. And he could like produce like guys like to produce these things with filmmakers who know what they're doing, and they do it.
And actually, I saw this article sorry, Dave, but like,
no, go ahead.
You want to go? Yeah, I saw this article like that said, like after watching this segment of Batman Gotham Knight, you know, the Deadshot segment. Yeah, they even made like an article saying, oh, this is what they could do in that animation style. And I'm like, fuck yes. Except I don't think that animator or like artist has been doing anything since. Like they did the Highlander anime, they did Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, whatever the fuck. And like have them do that, but no, we got to do live action or nothing, even though sorry.
Yeah, I know it's all crazy. I mean, I just laugh at it, you know, because then they spin the words and they say like, I can't believe like he just, you know, he wants just animated. Like, no, I was very much. Go back and see all the shit that I've always talked about. I took part into that 1.5 million hashtag tweets of Restore the Snyderverse after the Snyder Cut came out. I was all about more. But then, of course, I was having literal conversations with the man himself, who he even said, hey, if there's more, we'll see what happens. But he did his mic drop. He did not change the ending. They still wanted him to change the ending to not have any cliffhangers in it. But he said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this, and we're going to shoot this ending. We're going to have this epilogue. We're going to have Martian Manhunter do this thing right here. And then I'm going to show my daughter's name, and I'm going to mic drop and just be like, fuck Warner Brothers who, you know, gave me all this grief. And then I'm walking. And if there's going to be more, fine. But I'm going to Netflix and I have a whole bunch of shit that I'm going to do over here. And he even said like, hey, I'm going to be busy. And I even asked him, I flat out asked him, I'm like, okay, but if there's more and say they do a series, would you be okay with other people like handling that? He's like, 100%. I go, 100%. He would be okay with collaborating with other people, but he wasn't going to wait around. And I just don't get it when these people just like, they don't realize that these people aren't waiting around to get back into their costumes and get back to like, we got to tell the rest of the story. They're not waiting around to do that. You guys are wanting that for some reason, but at the same time, they're doing shit. And then we have Ben Affleck, and that's
they
why I have hashtag thank Batfleck, because obviously he just talked about it, that he's done. He's done with the genre, and there's nothing wrong with him saying that. He's not like he hasn't said that before, but he's done with the genre. He's done with the genre, and he's trying to change Hollywood.
But Zach will call him
Zach's
back.
the key. Zach's the key. He's the key.
Oh yeah, I just sent like a
happy D9. What's up, buddy? Tony.
Hey guys.
What's happening?
Hey,
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. How about you guys?
Good. We're just talking. We're just
talking about so
reminiscing
far?
about. We're reminiscing about BVS, and then of course just talking about Snyderverse
Yeah,
stuff.
I love that film.
Well, okay. Since you just showed up right here, we kind of did like we went around about.
No, I got back from my family dinner. That's all. I went out with my family. That's all.
Okay. So did your family like it?
No, my uncle does.
Okay.
My cousin, he's a big Zack Snyder fan. Like he loves the DC stuff. But yeah.
Okay, that's good. So, so your uncle liked it, but some of your other family members, did you have
No,
like
most of them they don't
after?
care.
Huh?
They don't care.
Yeah, they didn't care.
They're not really-
Okay. So did you see it? Did you see it
It's weird
opening
because
weekend?
I didn't quite love BVS when I first saw it because I was kind
wrong
of
with that.
puzzled by it at first because I didn't know what to think of it because I remember going in and there was already like so much hatred and so much hatred for it, and then when I finally saw it, I was just kind of like, it was okay.
Okay. But then when you saw the ultimate cut, did that help?
What?
When you saw the ultimate cut, did that help?
No, yeah, I know. When I saw the Ultimate Edition, I started, and then when I saw it again, I started to really understand what Zach was really doing, and then I was like, oh my god, this is actually a great follow up. I really love this, and yeah, it's just weird, and sometimes I do think like, do you ever think this movie was ahead of its time?
I think so, a little bit.
I think it came out at the
especially
wrong
with
time.
like how people presume like the MCU was at that time, because you had like Civil War and like all the other Marvel movies that were competing with it, and I think that was why like WB had a lot of pressure on them because they got a lot of flack and a lot of bad reviews, and instead of like continue what you started, they kind of did operate in a panic, and they just screwed up. Like,
dude, I still remember. I remember. You know, I just had a memory just flashback right now. I think it was 2015, 2016, probably the beginning of 2016. I remember when I think it was announced that. I mean, I think that BVS got postponed because it was supposed to come out in 2015, and they pushed it like 10 months or something like that. And this is right around the time when Civil War got announced. And then of course there was like this whole thing of like, oh man, there's a showdown between Marvel and DC because they're both coming out in the same year and everything. So, and I remember specifically when that happened, I remember I was working at this one place, I wasn't obviously remote working, but I was working at this one spot. And then I remember I went on lunch and I took my laptop, and I remember grabbing some lunch at like some grocery store. I just grabbed like a little sandwich or something. And then I sat on a bench, and it was like kind of a hot day, I think, or I don't know, maybe it wasn't. But I just remember sitting on a bench, and I was like typing up something on my website that I had, that I still have, that I need to do something with. Anyways, but I remember seeing like the whole information about that, and the fact that it was like, and somebody already made art for like Civil War. They already had like Tony and they already had them like already like, and it was kind of cool. I was like, oh shit. And then I used that for like my featured image and everything. I just remember sitting at this one bench, it just cleared my head when that was all happening. But at the same time, that's what people have to realize, that Marvel's, I mean, even though like DC didn't really have like their own universe, but the fact that BVS was happening, that caused Marvel to be like, well, we got to do Civil War. It's not even like much a rivalry thing, but it is.
Was that always part of the plan, Civil War, or no?
No, I think they were planning on doing something else. I mean, there was always the Serpent Society stuff when it came to Captain America. I don't think they actually really wanted to do Civil War yet. I think it was always on the table, but they weren't planning on doing it quite yet. But when they found out that DC was doing their Batman versus Superman, they were like, well, we got to do our Captain versus Iron Man kind of thing.
Yeah, and I gotta be really honest. Like Civil War, like they really should have stuck with the original plan and waited, because one of the big problems with Civil War is you have involved, like, even though most of it are like, you know, the heroes that do know each other, you brought in these characters like Spider-Man and Ant-Man and even like and Black Panther and all that, who don't really have a dog in this fight. They don't know any of the others from Adam, and you're having them involved in this airport civil exhibition match. Which I'm sorry, I'm sorry, this movie is so overrated. Well,
and part of Civil War's lore was the fact that, I mean, obviously they had to tweak it so much.
Yeah,
they had the Accords, but like in the book, it was all about the heroes had to show who they really were. They had to reveal their identities. That was part of the whole, you know, concept of that, was like, hey, they got to, you know, expose themselves. And you couldn't really do that in a movie setting, especially when I mean, Spider-Man's, is heavily involved in that fucking book.
Yep.
But
I mean, they were
they're now introducing Spider-Man in that book. In the movie.
I mean,
they were. Oh yeah, sorry. Go on.
Sorry, like introducing him in a Civil War movie. That's one of the dumbest things about it.
Yeah. So I mean, that's where that movie falls flat for me. Like there's moments I like, there's like things I like about it, but I mean, essentially, you know, I like the Bucky and Steve Rogers stuff, and I like certain aspects, but I mean, the fight between both of them, between the two sides, is kind of shitty. There's some cool moments, sure, but I don't know. It's just, but then when you look back, you go, why is this even happening? But I don't know. They could have. And maybe in the future they'll be able to do something where if they reboot the universe, if that ever happens, they could actually do. I mean, Civil War is going to have to be like a full-on like series where they actually have, when they have all the characters and they can actually do the actual story and have like these. I don't know. It's just going to be interesting to see like the future of PBM.
One question I do have of like, what was the reason why they didn't do the Ultimate Edition feeders?
Why they didn't?
Yeah, because like I don't think anyone would have had a problem sitting through a 3-hour long movie. But
well, we were talking about it, like what Eric was saying. It was like they wanted more screens.
Oh,
yeah. Fujihara was like, "Hey, cut it down so we could put it on more screens to get more money. It's all business."
But again, it's such a dumb reason when you remember again.
But here's the real question: like, had they done the Ultimate Edition in feeders, do you think it would have made $1 billion, or do you think they would have still freaked out? That's the question I always wondered.
It's a good question.
The thing is, even as it is, it had $900 billion, so it got close anyway.
It almost got to 900 million. Yeah,
it had 870.
It came close, and it kind of makes you wonder: is like, would that if they would have had the 3-hour cut, it was more fleshed out, and maybe more people would have liked it. Maybe it would have gotten better word of mouth. I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah.
If it better word of mouth, more people were coming. They would have maybe extended the theatrical release. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. When it comes to Civil War, I don't really like that story to begin with. I think it's kind of a hokey one. But then again, it's written by Mark Millar, and Mark Millar is not exactly the best writer in the business. He's a fucking poor man's Grant Morrison. So that book is just kind of boring to me to begin with. That book also, they reveal
Isn't he
Spider-Man's
the guy that did
identity.
Kingsman?
No, that's Matthew Vaughn, and even then, those movies.
No, he did that.
No, he did the comic, right?
Yeah.
Did he? Oh yeah, he did do the comic. Well, either way, those are garbage too. So.
What was that series that was on Netflix or whatever that was a superhero?
It was Injustice.
Oh, Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah,
Jupiter's Legacy. I said Jupiter's.
Oh, there was also There was also this anime called Super Crooks, which I enjoy, and it's based off like a Mark
But
Millar
didn't they
book.
cancel
Mark
Jupiter
Millar
as-
is just a fucking terrible writer. He's not good at what he does.
Yeah,
I mean,
was like
wasn't
the
there
very-
there's that
he-
one comic of
Yeah.
of a Batman like character,
Yeah.
but it's just in a white suit with no ears.
Oh, it's
Nemesis something.
Nemesis. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I will say it is like the art's pretty good, but like I don't.
Yeah.
That's only because
Yeah.
Jorge
It's a-
Jimenez did the art.
Yeah, that's the only reason why.
Yeah.
I think it looked good.
On a writing level. Like Grant Morrison even was asked what would you do if you were to like come into contact with Mark Millar, and Grant Morrison said something to the effect of, "Oh, I'd probably just like run 100 miles an hour straight through him." Like Mark Millar is not well liked.
A-Train
That
style.
dude is an asshole. Like we're talking about the same guy who said collectively that men in the DCU should how do I say this politely? They should do things to Wonder Woman men shouldn't do.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Jeff Johns?
He makes crass jokes like that. It's just like, oh, you're a misogynistic piece of shit. Got it.
Why the hell
Yeah.
is Matthew? Why does Matthew Vaughn like working with him?
Well,
then? Like,
two birds of a feather. That's like asking why
Yeah,
some
true.
artists like working with Jeff Johns. Same deal.
Yeah.
Birds
Yeah,
of a feather.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah, because in the end, like the best parts of the of the Civil War arc in the comics were the spin-off comics. Like that iconic moment where Captain America gives that speech to Peter Parker about what it means to be an American, to stand up for what you believe in, and then when the world tells you to move, you stand firm and say no, you move. That's from one of the spin-off comics. It's not from the main comic.
That doesn't shock me. That doesn't
Yeah.
shock me one bit. Probably wasn't written by Mark Millar either.
Nope, it wasn't. I do not think so.
No, but I mean, but that's what was kind of interesting, that there was at one point back in 2015, 2016, Marvel and DC, there was a little bit of a competition rivalry thing that was happening. And then, of course, that all just fell flat because Warner Brothers just fucked everything up. And then there wasn't really a rivalry after that.
Panic. That was the problem. It wasn't that BVS bomb. It made a lot of money, but
It
they
did.
just fought in their eyes because we got piss poor reviews. And when something like Ant-Man or like Civil War gets so much praise, they just thought like, oh, that you're making us look bad for some reason, which is always strange to me. Why like executives care so much about like reviews instead of like
But again,
paying
if
attention to the box office.
It's all
Yeah,
ego.
but again, if they cared so much about reviews, how did they miss that when the Ultimate Edition came out, a lot of those critics did the 180 and liked it?
I
I
don't
think
know.
because it was a
Because they
bit
don't-
too late at that point. They
They didn't care.
Well, yeah, because by then Jeff Johns was named head of DC Films.
Him and
And,
John.
for some reason.
Yeah, him and John Berg just were fucking just acting on behalf of the likes of Toby Emmerich and Sujihara and everyone who, they tried to neuter that movie, and well,
That was Suicide Squad, right?
they neutered Suicide Squad and they really neutered Justice League. It was just
Yeah.
a fucking shit show. It was a complete and total
Yep.
shit show.
I mean, yeah, luckily enough that Suicide Squad actually made them money, but then fucking A, man, when you look at what they do, I mean, obviously going back to what Ben Affleck was just said in that GQ article, I mean, when he said like about it, doing things that were excruciating and bringing unhappiness to the set. I mean, it was Justice League. It wasn't BVS for sure. It wasn't Suicide Squad either.
Oh, you said
it was all the
Justice League.
what was happening with there. And I even said it. I said it last night. I mean, I've said it many times. Is he was trying to get the whole cast to walk off that set.
Hey, you know what? I think he could have done a walk off because he's like a 2-time Academy Award winner. So like, I think he
yeah,
could.
but when
don't know.
there's so much money, behind shit. And Ben Affleck has his demons, he has his issues, he has stuff. I mean, they might have been like, "Hey, man, you do this, we're gonna expose your alcoholism, your this, your that." They could have. They probably had shit on him where they were like, "Nah, dude, you try to do this, we're gonna fuck up your name." That's the bad part.
And
that's the
which
bad
is
part.
funny.
The ugly side of the business
That's
is
really shy to
when they
Hollywood.
know when they know you're deep your secrets and stuff like that, they can expose you, and you can get you could instantly just disappear like that. It's like the mob, and it's crazy.
Unless we forget, these same people were at the same time overlooking all the sins of Joss Whedon, even on set for Justice League.
Well, you know, I see. Oh yeah, I see people say, "Oh, the Zach's cast should have been more supportive for him." I'm like, there's that story of Ben wanting to walk off the set with the cast.
Well, weren't they contractually obligated to come back for reshoots? So there's nothing you can do. So
yeah. That's the thing is, like, when you sign contracts, you gotta. I mean, that's the thing. They probably were like, "Oh yeah, if you try to do something, you're gonna get sued for this much. You're gonna get this. You're gonna get that."
Most of these people who like trash, actors for why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't Mark Hamill walk off the set for Star Wars or blah, blah, blah? Most of these people have never worked in movie business, show business at all.
Mark
They
Hamill
do not know how the
system works. Star Wars.
But see, but then going back to the Ben Affleck, GQ thing, the main emphasis that I kept on, when I talked about it, I was like, his experiences that he's had in this business, but specifically when it comes to that Justice League shoot, is he doesn't want that shit to happen again. He's trying to create with his studio, he's trying to create basically standards, standards where like that shit doesn't happen anymore. And that's what I was trying to tell people, like, hey, okay, yeah, we could fucking fight back and forth and argue about what he said about Batman, and he's not gonna, he's done with CBMs and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, we could do all that. We can go back and forth, because obviously you got the nut jobs that think that, oh yeah, he'll come back for Zach, and everybody's just gonna drop everything they're doing and make two big giant Justice League sequels, and then also Ben Affleck's gonna make his Batman movie. But,
and they're gonna make a proper Flashpoint movie.
Oh yeah, they're gonna do like 12 movies after that. But no, but I'm just saying, like, what I'm trying to tell people is like, emphasize, I'm like, look at what Ben Affleck wants to do. After all he's been through in the past decade, he is trying to change the way Hollywood works, which it does. Yeah. It needs a fucking change. And I'm like, kudos to Ben Affleck for wanting to make that change, or start the foundation of change. And hopefully other studios and production companies will take note. Like, hell yeah, let's do this,
Ben's been through everything. He's been through ups and downs of his entire career, so he knows how this business is. So that's why I've always had a respect for Ben Affleck.
Yeah. He absolutely wants to make Hollywood great again.
Gonna make it great again. We're gonna do it. Yeah, we're gonna do it. Come on. What's going on, Carrie?
Hey, fellas.
How you doing?
What's up?
Doing all right. On spring break. So
you're on spring break. Hey, you're a percussionist. I see that drum set behind you.
I am a drummer. Yes.
Look at you. Nice. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Ever since I was 16, picked it up.
Nice. Like it. I do a little drumming myself. I have at least.
It's the Pearl. Initially, it started off as a rental kit that was a gift from my parents for Christmas one year. And then after 6 months, I was still beating around on it and still figuring out how to make actual rhythms work and whatnot. And then I said, I'm not ready to give this up yet.
Nice.
That was cool.
I've added to it over there. So Pearl is the drum kit.
Nice. Well, thanks for joining. Yeah, we're just we're just reminiscing about, of course, BVS. And since you just joined right now, tell us about your experience by seeing Batman versus Superman the first time.
So actually, can I back up slightly even before that? I won't get to that because I did get to see the Monday night earlier screening beforehand, before it officially came out. Because of how much I adored Man of Steel, even though I was pretty much, I knew Zach was awesome because Nolan had picked him. I was like, I trust Nolan's instincts. I trusted him all the way through the Dark Knight trilogy. I loved Watchmen. 300's great. So Man of Steel was majestic. So I was like, yeah, whatever direction Zach goes in, I'm all in for. But I will say what I was most hoping for was a Man of Steel, a self-contained Man of Steel trilogy with Zach Cavill, in the same vein of what Nolan and Bale did for Batman. Like, that's what I was most wanting. So when he comes out and announces at Comic-Con and so on and so forth, it's gonna be Batman v Superman.
Hold on, Caleb. Carrie, let me just stop. We're not gonna ban somebody who's having a disagreement in here.
Yeah,
right?
I just put him in timeout. He was stirring up shit.
Come on. I mean, we don't need to do that, guys. Come on.
Yeah, he's been at this for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, he's not.
Oh, by the way, I do.
He's just commenting.
Yeah. Also,
we don't
I do
need
gotta
to,
head
like,
out.
you know,
So.
there's nothing wrong with somebody who's like pushing back. Just ignore it, guys. Just ignore it.
Yeah.
That's all. We don't need to like full on be like ban somebody who's having an opinion on. He's got his own opinion. It's fine, you know, but we don't need to like do that. All right. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just because
he's
you
not
don't like
banned.
what he's saying doesn't mean we have to ban them. That's not how it works. Okay.
Yeah,
Everybody
no,
has the right to like say whatever the fuck they want to say. You know, it's fine. Just ignore them. Just ignore them. That's it. That's all. Anyway, sorry, Carrie.
So yeah, I even with what we've got, there's a big part of me that still wishes we could have just gotten a self-contained solo Superman trilogy with Cavill and Snyder in the vein of what Nolan and Bale had given us for Batman, and because then that would have given us this. They could have really gone deep into the Superman lore and mythology. We could have actually gotten Brainiac, at some point, or you could have done a new variation on the Legion of Superheroes or something like that. So that said, I was extremely hyped for Batman v Superman in the lead up to it, and had the chance to. I forget how this happened, but almost a year, 6 months to a year before it came out, I managed to secure like the pre-screening of like some of the IMAX footage of where they showed you like a 6-minute trailer basically and it included the Batman Superman fight, and it was shown on certain IMAX screens. So it was showing at my local theater where I was in the Bay Area. And so I was able to see that, and along with that came a guaranteed ticket to see a Monday night early screening before before opening weekend. So I went to see the Monday night screening, came out, blown away by it, kind of mystified by, Zach having the balls to kill off Superman in the second movie.
Yeah.
And I remember the crowd enjoying it. I remember, everyone cheered for Wonder Woman when she came in, but I don't remember any animosity or people walking out of the theater going, "Oh, that was terrible," or "I couldn't believe they did that."
I was going to say something because that was my experience, because I saw that in like the theater too at my Regal theater, like opening night on Friday, and my entire audience loved it and they adored the movie. I mean, I was kind of mixed on it at the time before I saw the Ultimate Edition, but like I was just kind of confused and kind of puzzled by when I got online that like everybody was like hating on this movie, and they were saying, "Oh my god, like it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen." I was like, "Wait, what?"
When I started seeing those comments on Twitter and from film reviewers and everything like that, it made me go like, what movie did they watch that I didn't?
Yeah.
I feel like we literally watched a completely different movie than what they were talking about.
It really just shows like one of the problems with like there being such an online presence nowadays. I mean, if you think about like way back when Empire Strikes Back came out, obviously there was controversy over how dark it was in contrast to the first Star Wars. But imagine if there was social media back then.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too, I remember thinking coming out of the theater that because the whole plot in Africa, as far as Lex Luthor trying to frame Superman for it, in the theatrical version is really, really choppy and really, really hard to digest and hard to follow. And I kind of remember thinking, okay, if there's anything that's going to really throw people off, it's going to be this. Because I remember having a similar thought with Dark Knight Rises, where the first time watching it, when you start watching The Dark Knight Rises and you follow the whole plot line of Bane's men using Selina to get Wayne's fingerprints so they can hack into his Wall Street accounts, basically, and then drain him of his money. Following that plot line, for me, the first time watching Dark Knight Rises, it didn't come together for me right away. And so it took like the second or third viewing, like, oh, now I see the thread of how they're doing this. But it just felt choppy in how it was executed. And I thought that was very, very similarly as far as the whole African plot line in BVS. But enough of everything else, worked around it well enough.
Well, also
to still make it fully enjoyable and immersive. So
Well, I was going to also say, like, Superman's explanation for why he fights Batman isn't really fully explained in the theatrical version. But when you watch when you watch the Ultimate Edition, it's so much better because he's actually doing the Clark Kent stuff, and you actually get a sense of why he's taking out Superman. I mean,
the seeds of it are there, but like it's more fleshed out for sure.
Yeah.
I got my fucking ring.
And like there is that one scene that people do bring up sometimes of like when Lois is being held by that man with and she's about to get shot, and like Superman like just flies through that guy into the wall. I wish because you can see if you look closely that he like actually like hits the wall on his back, on Superman's back, so he doesn't hurt that guy. I just wish there was a scene showing that guy living.
Well, I mean, Superman says to Lois Lane, "I didn't kill any of those men, if that's what they think." But people like to ignore context of these movies for the.
I know it's almost like that was like Clark saying that to the crowd. That we're pushing back and get this. I think.
I figured the guy had a lot of broken bones, but
he might have been damaged for sure. But Superman has a way of he probably pulled him in and then just went through the wall, and he only got some scrapes from the wall. But Axel, I know you got to take off.
Yes, thank you for having me on, Dave. It's been fun, and All right. Bye.
Cool. Oh, the other thing I want to add about BVS is that my first year going to Comic-Con in 2015, I was able to be in the Hall H panel for
the Harry Lennox announcement.
No, the following year when it was the full.
Oh yeah, they already had that. That was 2014. Yeah.
So 2 years later in 2015,
when
Force Awakens kind of stole the show as far as what was the best Comic-Con moment for the weekend. Friday night, Saturday morning was the Batman v Superman panel, and that's where that was the first time you saw Wonder Woman in full motion in action in the trailer footage, and
that's right.
They were able to have the cast talk and share. And Zach even said Holly Hunter was on the platform.
Yes, he was.
And I think Zach said she can't say anything, but she's awesome.
Yeah, basically that was the year that didn't Cavill and Ben come out. They didn't really say anything either. Was that year?
2015.
No, they were. I mean, I don't remember them saying a lot, but I remember they asked.
They didn't say a bunch of things. It was just kind of hey, they're here, and they said a couple of things, but there could not be any kind of conversation really.
That was the year prior. So 2013 is the big Harry Lennox reveal. 2014, they brought out the trio. They brought out Trinity, and I think they showed the first photograph of Wonder Woman there.
That's right. You're right. And then they came out, but they didn't really say much. But then it was
waved and said we gotta go.
They could say some more things.
And then 2015 is the full actual panel. That was also
because they were still filming. They were still filming when it came to 2015 or 2014.
The movie was done. The movie had been filmed.
Yeah. So okay. So the one you saw, they could actually talk about certain things.
And just preceding it, I want to say was the Suicide Squad panel.
That's right.
And that's where they showed
the
first footage, and then that trailer eventually leaked. So
oh man, I remember that too. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Ooh, so that year, 2015 was
a great year.
Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad.
That was the year that the Deadpool trailer also debuted.
It was
at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So there was three trailers. It was BVS, Suicide Squad, and Deadpool that were the big ones. I think there probably was something when it came to Civil War. I don't know, but
Marvel skipped that year. Marvel Studios skipped that year.
Oh, that's right. They did skip.
So Fox took over their slot in the evening for their X-Men stuff. So that's where they had footage. That was the first time they showed Oscar Isaac's Apocalypse.
That's right. It was very much.
They had the Fanforstic panel.
That's right. Oh,
and then also that was also where at the very end when all the Fox X-Men cast between Deadpool, between Apocalypse, between Fantastic Four were coming out to do a big group photo. Then Channing Tatum ran out because the rumors about the Gambit movie were flying.
God,
so he's hey guys,
now he's in an Avengers movie.
Now he's going to be in Avengers Doomsday with OG X-Men.
Right,
that's right.
Or cast. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, in 10 years that guy's been trying to do that. He finally gets to be in a movie and do his thing last year. And then now, because he was such a crowd favorite, they're like, well, we're bringing Channing Tatum back, and he's going to be in a movie that has Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, other OG mutants, which is crazy. And he's probably going to be in Secret Wars as well. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely.
Do we know if the Rogue, I forget her name, Anna I forget her name. Anna Paquin. Like, if do we know if she's going to be back? Because remember, like in the comics, she at like Rogue and Gambit are like team up a lot.
Oh, they were like lovers.
I don't know.
They're romantic.
Yeah.
They're romantically involved. I thought I heard that she hasn't. I don't know if she's done much. I thought she had some kind of ailment, some kind of. I don't know. I thought somebody said something last night because we kind of talked about that. I didn't look it up, but yeah, I don't know what Anna Paquin's been up to, and I thought maybe she had to like take some time off because she was dealing with some health issues.
So, according to Business Insider, as of last year, she's dealing with some mobility and speech difficulties.
There it is.
That's as of April of last year. So,
yeah, we talked about that. I had no idea because I was like, I haven't seen Anna Paquin in anything recently.
Well, and was The Irishman.
She was in The Irishman. That's right.
Yeah.
She didn't have any dialogue.
She was Robert De Niro's daughter.
But yeah, well,
that's a shame because we finally have a Gambit, and now we're probably not going to have a Rogue.
Yeah.
I was surprised there was that Halle Berry wasn't included in the Storm.
She'll be back. Hugh Jackman
Yeah.
wasn't involved either. So
same with Ryan Reynolds. Do you really think they're going to let the two leads of their last $1 billion movie not be in either one of these Avengers movies?
Well, Ryan Reynolds doing with a lot of that controversy right now, but I don't think so.
That's not going to affect this at all.
It won't.
What you say?
I mean, anybody like diehard people that love Deadpool, they're gonna just be like, whatever. I don't, and the whole thing that's all happening. Yeah, it sucks. It's stupid and shouldn't have been a thing that happened. And even like looking into it, but I don't really. I hate the whole that drama type stuff like that. I just hate it. I can't. It just gets annoying. I'm like, okay, but I'm all like, let's just talk about the movies. But then, of course, sometimes you just have to talk about that stuff, and sometimes I do, yes. But at the same time, there's like so much stuff that goes back and forth and back and forth. And I talked about the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard stuff that got annoying, and I kept on saying, hey, they both suck. They're both pretty toxic. I don't know why
I know.
we have to pick a side. And it seems like with this situation, it seems like more like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds being a Ryan Reynolds fan that I've been since I saw him in Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, and then Van Wilder and all the, I've been a fan of the guy. I just go like, oh yeah, he fucked up. He fucked up with this, and so did Blake Lively. It seems more like they fucked up, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to kill his career. I don't think it's going to kill him playing Deadpool anymore.
No.
I don't think, honestly, I really doubt that most normies know or even care about that old controversy. Unless you're the kind of person who watches Entertainment Tonight on a regular basis, you probably don't know much about it.
I'm going to push back on that because I remember when the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial was happening, literally like 75% of the people I work with on the floor had that going on their phones.
See, that's the thing.
They are not like.
We assume that people don't know this stuff, but they take it in.
They're gonna go in court about it, so they're gonna find out eventually. So
no, they fucked up. I mean, they did.
If there's a trial and it goes public, everyone's gonna fucking know about it. It's gonna be.
They fucked up on all that. I mean, I don't even understand.
I mean, I don't think they should be canceled though, because you think about it. I mean, what Blake Lively did was kind of like what Edward Norton did on American History X. Remember how he kind of like took over the film's production and then the editing room of that.
Well, he's kind of known for doing that. I know he's known for kind of just being like, "Hey, this is how I want to play the role." Yeah.
Well, typically when you've got two sides like that, so publicly trying to shame each other, the truth is somewhere in the middle. There probably was some harassment from Baldoni, but there's probably some exaggeration from Blake Lively, and I say that as someone who loves both Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
I love them both to death. But I also think that Justin Baldoni took an opportunity to be like, oh, these are some of the biggest people in Hollywood. I'm gonna fucking fight to death.
My 15 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, they're like a power couple,
Right,
and I think they try to swing that power a little too much when it came to this movie, which ended up being very successful, by the way. Which is kind of
and the crazy part is there's a sequel to the book of it, and we all know that's not going to happen.
Probably not now, but
no.
But I think they saw the potential in that franchise, and so they really were trying to be like, oh, we got to start running this thing, and Justin Baldoni was like, well, wait a minute, guys, I was the one that like brought this whole thing forward, and I'm the director, I'm doing this, and then they just fucking turned on him. And I think it was just a power trip. They had a power trip, and hopefully it'll be a lesson for them. If they end up disappearing, I mean, obviously they're very well off. I don't think they'll.
I mean, they got a lot of money.
They won't be going hungry. Yeah. I don't know. It's a shitty situation. Yeah, but at the same time, it's like you can't take sides just because we love Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I'm not going to be like, well, he's not. Oh no, he's innocent. No, he definitely is not.
I mean, let's be honest. It's like Johnny Depp. I mean, they're both guilty. Like her and Baldoni. Yeah, they both did shady stuff together. But that's just what it is.
Yeah, it's just
what you do.
It's a weird thing, but no, I think Deadpool will probably show up in one of these Avengers movies. So. Obviously, Hugh Jackman is going to be there. I thought we would see his name on the back of a chair, and then I was waiting for Famke Janssen and Halle Berry. Yeah, but I
think Famke Janssen's going to show up. I think you don't bring back a good majority of this cast and announce James Marsden and not announce Famke Janssen. Like they're probably going to bring her back.
Alan Cumming is a big get for.
So that's what I thought too. I thought that was the most surprising
because he was very adamant about not. I didn't learn about this till years and years and years.
He
later.
didn't want to come back for the third movie. Yeah,
he didn't. Yeah, and so
coming back?
What's that?
Which one's coming back?
Alan he played Nightcrawler.
Oh yeah, I remember
Nightcrawler. So older Nightcrawler is coming back. I also got to. Even though the third X-Men movie wasn't as great as it could have been, Kelsey Grammer's Beast was on point.
Yeah.
and he's always been, I don't know, for an ambassador for lack of it. He's always been enthusiastic about the character. So like having to put on makeup and all that stuff, he's always been on board with it because I think he actually genuinely cares about the product and the character and everything like that. So
well, he'd been circled. He'd been circled for the role for years. Like when people,
he was the fan favorite.
Yeah, he was easily the fan favorite. Like when they had cast Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier, everyone was like, okay, well now we need to get Kelsey Grammer as Beast. That was the big ask for a long time, and then it finally happened in a not great movie, but still, like when I saw him at the end of Days of Future Past, I was like, fuck yeah, all right.
There's even like how much of like him being the fan favorite, like how much that. Well, the hype for that, and it actually got into like there was an episode of Frasier where at the beginning of the episode, he's like Frasier is at a Comic-Con and he's like getting stuff for his son, and in that whole scene, he's carrying around an X-Men comic, and I'm pretty sure it has Beast on it.
Interesting. I don't think I ever saw that episode. I've seen a pretty good amount of Frasier, but there's a lot I could have missed too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
But no, so I was very happy with that. That sort of shows that I think that is the significance of now Marvel Studios running the ship with these properties and the Russos obviously reaching out to these actors saying, hey, it's not going to be like ask any of the massive cast that worked with us on Infinity War and Endgame, and they'll tell you how we work. So and hopefully I'm hoping that it's not even what my theory is that it's going to be like the actors from the Fox universe, but they're sort of going to like blend them with the world of the animated series. Like,
they're going to be variants. Yeah, it's going to be like because you already had Professor Xavier in Multiverse of Madness with the yellow chair.
Yeah.
You had Wolverine in his classic yellow costume. You had Gambit in his classic costume. Like they're not going to pass this up. They're going to put these actors.
We're definitely going to see James Marsden in that blue, yellow.
Yep. And we're probably going to see Alan Cumming in a red and black suit. And if he has scimitars, I will fucking cream. I shit you not. If he has those twin swords, I will fucking cream.
Well, the other thing that I hope they do, because the thing that the Fox movies didn't get right about, they never really got the fact that Cyclops is actually like a noble, smart, strategic leader. You know,
Yeah.
really never got that at all.
He's kind of a pussy in the comics too, but yeah.
What's that?
Cyclops is also kind of a pussy in the comics too, depending on which run you're reading. So
when it comes to Jean Grey, I guess you could say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
100%.
90s era when I was reading, he was always, you know, I felt like he was on point. So, or what they did recently in the animated series, even X-Men 97. So,
X-Men. If you watch Wolverine and the X-Men, like they totally bitch up Cyclops. Like he's a mopey, drunken piece of shit. He's so sad. He doesn't like he's super fucking sad that Jean's like basically what happens is in X-Men and Wolverine and the X-Men is the X-Mansion gets blown to shit, and like Professor X is missing, Jean Grey is missing, the X-Men are fucking shattered and like dissolved, like everyone is off doing their own thing, and then Wolverine has to take it upon himself to like reassemble a new version of the X-Men, and Cyclops is one of the first people he goes to see, and Cyclops is just living in this disheveled apartment. He's super drunk all the fucking time. He's depressed. He's basically just like, Jean. It's like, it's sad, but at the same time, yeah, they then pull from, I think it's like the late 90s where Emma Frost, actually no, it's Grant Morrison's new X-Men. They pull from that a little bit, and Emma Frost is the one who's just like, come on, dude, get off your ass. Let's go fucking help Wolverine do some shit. And he's basically just like, all right, you're a telepath, but all right. It's pretty fucking cool. Yeah, I love Wolverine and the X-Men. There's not been one bad animated version of the X-Men in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
So do you guys think that like after Secret Wars they just reboot everything? Like there's going to be like this battle between like they're going to finally just like this is it when it comes to Fox, X-Men, this is it when it comes to MCU, and Kevin Feige just goes like, all right, that was it for me, guys. Now we're going to pass the torch to whomever. And then they just kind of just reboot everything where they could just have
I think it's going to be more like refreshing than it is rebooting.
Or that,
right?
not like a soft reboot, maybe.
Yeah, because they're going to keep people like, you know, Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards.
Like Fantastic.
They're not getting rid of Tom Holland. They're like he's got 3 more movies on his new contract. There's no way they're getting rid of him anytime soon. Kamala Khan's sticking around. Like basically anyone new introduced in Phase 4, 5, and 6, you're probably going to see sticking around. But don't expect like, you know, Chris Evans to probably come back as Captain America after Secret Wars. I don't think that's ever going to happen again after that movie comes out. You know, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., I think his bout as Doom is going to be like, okay, I'm done after this. Like I'm for sure no longer.
2 movies, that's it.
Yeah. Because that's all he's signed on for is just the 2 Avengers movies, and I'm presuming Fantastic Four, because you don't announce him as Doom.
Well, it's probably be like a mid-credit scene, I think.
Nope. I'm gonna push back on that. He is not going to settle for some dumbass little post-credit scene in Fantastic Four. You do not do the Fantastic Four unless you have every intention of introducing Doom. Doom will have a part in that movie. It will likely be equivocal to something of like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, but I promise you, he's going to have presence and he will have some kind of role in that film. I don't give a fuck what Jeff Snyder says.
No, yeah.
Well, he's a dick anyway.
You might be right about that. I mean, how would you not like just have something? Don't. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they could just resort to like some kind of mid-credit, post-credit scene, but that just seems like too cheap to do that.
Yep.
Especially when it comes to somebody like Robert Downey Jr. coming back as that. Maybe they'll have like, I don't know. It just, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
My theory has been that by bringing back the Fox X-Men cast, they're going to give them that cast kind of their last hurrah in the roles, the same way that you could look at Spider-Man No Way Home as kind of the last hurrah for those actors and for the fans too, with Toby and Andrew in that movie. So it gives the fans of those legacy actors one last chance to get, to be with them before. Okay, now we're moving on. Now we're doing I think after it, there is going to be a complete recast of the X-Men. The previous Avengers cast, I think they'll sort of pick and choose. Like it would not shock me if they sort of fast forward things and say, now to Prince T'Challa, who we were introduced to at the end of Wakanda Forever, maybe is now an adult and ready to take the throne. In Wakanda, I'm assuming they'll want to do at least one or two more movies with Doctor Strange, with Benedict Cumberbatch, and I think Anthony Mackie is going to stick around for a while too as Sam Wilson. So I think they'll sort of do. It'll be a resetting where they'll recast. So the X-Men will be rebooted and recast and folded into the wider MCU. I think the whole multiverse will get condensed a lot. Like I don't think it's going to go away completely, but I think they'll consolidate it quite a lot. So that and then say we're focusing on this one universe 90% of the time. But the thing is, with the new X-Men cast, the vast majority of their focus for the next saga can be on mutants and the Fantastic Four, and every once in a while they'll check in with a Black Panther or a Doctor Strange or whomever, and with the Avengers cast. But I think the focus will shift more towards X-Men and Fantastic Four, so that way they don't need to worry about bringing rebooting Steve Rogers or rebooting Tony Stark. So they'll just the focus will be on X-Men and Fantastic Four and maybe some other characters in between. That's my thinking of how things will get a reset. So it's not going to be completely rebooted because they'll keep the stuff that has been there ever since a lot of those characters were introduced. But
it's going to be interesting, though. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next few years, because obviously there's going to be a lot of movies in between. We got Black Panther 3 that Ryan Coogler has said, like, hey, they're trying to work all that out and try to get Denzel Washington's going to be involved, and then of course Spider-Man and who said
What, just like Denzel Washington? You say
you didn't hear about that? Oh yeah. There's been talk about Denzel Washington being in Black Panther 3 and. The recent quote, because obviously, Coogler has Sinners coming out. So he's already started doing interviews. He said, like, oh, yeah, we're still working out the deal for Denzel to join Black Panther 3.
Denzel sort of jumped the gun and talked about it.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll probably hear more about that as more press comes about, obviously, because that's what anytime these directors or actors do junkets and they're involved in CBMs, they get asked about that. So we'll probably hear a little bit more about that. But it seems like Denzel is in a place where he's just like, hey, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Why not? So we'll probably see him in that. But yeah, we got another Spider-Man, probably, more Spider-Man that's going to be coming out. Fantastic Four, I don't know what exactly is going to happen in that movie. That's going to lead into Doomsday. Is there going to be sequels to Fantastic Four? I don't know how they're going to play with all that. I mean, we'll
see how it does well. Let's just see how it does.
Yeah, there's that, and see how it all plays out. I don't know.
How well you think Superman would do?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like when it comes to the MCU, yeah, it's one of those things. Like I said, we're in a very interesting spot when it comes to both DC and Marvel, where it's like they're both just, the MCU still has its credibility. They still, last year they still had $1 billion movie, but at the same time they've had some flops, which is you go, whoa, shit, they had some flops. But, they're still trying to, now they're trying to refine their footing a little bit. And I think they do have that. I think the announcement, the way that they did it, I thought it was brilliant. I thought, hey, if you're going to do that, let it drag on for 5.5 hours. I thought it was kind of cool after a bit. I was like,
another question. Do you think Blade is actually going to happen?
You think that what?
Blade's going to happen finally or no?
Who knows? Jesus Christ.
There are all these rumblings that they now are casted a completely different guy. I don't know what to make of that.
They should bring back Wesley Snipes. I'm serious. They
probably will, and I don't know because he was such a crowd cheering favorite in Deadpool.
Yeah, so. You literally had that line. There's only been one Blade, and there will only be one Blade.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all weird. The fact that you have somebody, an Academy Award winning, Mahershala Ali. You announced him in 2019, and you still can't figure out how to do Blade.
That's the easiest thing ever.
A small R-rated movie that doesn't have a hefty budget. You could do something
about
like
50 million. That's the amount of budget.
Yeah, you don't have to go buck wild. You don't have to do this. And I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, what is hard about figuring Blade out?
That should be one of the most easiest characters to write on a screenplay. I don't know. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. To bring back Wesley Snipes, do like a Logan style Blade send off, and just do that. That's what I.
Yeah, they could do it like a passing of the sword. Like if you want to stick with the multiverse stuff, have Wesley Snipes and Mahershala, do a multiverse thing. I don't know. I thought about that. I thought about that idea. Like, why not just have like a passing of the literal sword by doing something like that? You could do. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? That's the thing. We don't know. But it just seems like it's a little odd. You make this big announcement in 2019, and here we are in 2025.
All we have of him is a voice cameo from Eternals.
Yeah,
that nobody remembers.
Yeah,
so crazy. It's so crazy, but yeah, what can he do? But hey, 9 years since BVS, pretty crazy to think about.
Can I share some other things about VBS?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell me what you guys think of this.
Okay.
Just a few years prior, Nolan releases Dark Knight Rises. It's 2 hours, 45 minutes. Still makes $1 billion. I don't get why, and maybe it's because it was different leadership at Warner Brothers, and that was probably the biggest reason why.
That was Jeff Romanoff.
Yeah, I don't get why there wasn't a way for Zach to maneuver that one. Rather than saying, okay, we'll release the 2.5-hour version in theaters, and then we'll do my 3-hour cut on the Blu-ray release. I don't know why he says, like, hey, wait a minute. Nolan's executive producer on this. He got me involved in this in the first place. You let him release this 2 hour 45-minute Batman movie, and it did really well. Why don't you let me do 2:45?
Because
I always kind of wondered why Zach didn't push harder for that one. I do think that would have done, if not the full 3-hour movie, a 2 hour 45-minute movie. I'm of the opinion, I don't know if it would have crossed $1 billion, but I think it would have crossed 900. I still think it would have done better.
But again, it's the Christopher Nolan thing. We talked about it even earlier. Was when he was a full-on producer on Man of Steel. Right. So he was able to be like, nope. And when it comes to being an executive producer on BVS, he wasn't there to do that. And I don't think Warner Brothers fully trusted Zach. And that's the reason why is like they didn't fully trust and they were too busy going like, well, now we have not just one character, we have multiple characters in this movie. We want to get to the point where we get to a Justice League, and they started freaking out already about certain things. And then of course this is the time where you have Civil War that was announced after that, which was a direct result of what DC was doing. So at that time, there was a literal rivalry and a competition that was happening between DC and Marvel when it came to the movies. But DC, everybody in charge, they freaked out and was just like, nope. We need to make it shorter because we need more screens.
To make I just think Zach could have presented an argument to say, let me do a 2 hour.
He did. I'm sure he did. Like, I mean, there's been many times where he even said, like in interviews where he was like, we're not doing what they're doing. He emphasized we're not doing what those guys are doing. But there's only so much he could do when you don't have somebody like Christopher Nolan fully there, like he was there in Man of Steel, to be like, hey, watch out. Yeah, Zach didn't have enough power to sway them. Yeah, Nolan had all the power because he just gave them billions of dollars with a Dark Knight.
Makes me wish Zach could have made a phone call. Well, I mean, I was assuming that was maybe because Nolan was doing Interstellar.
Yeah, he was all doing his own thing. So that's the thing. He just didn't have the Nolan power in his corner for BVS. And there was so much riding on BVS because you're literally taking Batman and Superman and putting them in a movie for the first time.
Yeah,
there was so much riding on that the studio just fucking was like, wait, you want to release a 3-hour what the hell? But at the same time,
you think about it, I mean, War of the Wings was 3 hours long, and look how well that did. So it's
Peter Jackson had the power. He had that power. The thing is like Zach just didn't have the power. He
wasn't a very well-known director when out.
Yeah, and besides, who wouldn't want a movie where they can enjoy 3 hours of Batman and Superman?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Yeah. You got stupid suits, in their fucking offices sipping scotch, trying to make decisions. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
You know what? I will say this: let's just suppose if a miracle had happened, and if he had gotten the studio to agree on, okay, instead of 2 hours and 30 minutes, 2 hours and 45 minutes, I'll tell you right now what I would have cut and saved for the full cut, Ultimate Edition, the Nightmare Vision. I mean, the Nightmare Vision is great, but does it really affect the main story that much? But if you save it for the director's cut later, then it really builds in. There's more like great addition to like setting up what's to come, but it doesn't really. It's not particularly necessary for the main plot of BVS. So if you were to like take out the Nightmare Vision and Flash coming in and warning him Lois is the key and all that, then I'm pretty sure you've got something similar to 15 minutes right there.
Yeah, they probably could have done that, but kudos to Zach to be like, hey, I'm gonna keep this in here because but I see what you're saying. If they did remove the Nightmare element, as much as cool as it is, and saved it for the Ultimate Edition, that could have been something where they could have kept in all the initial plot and all the Lois Lane stuff and the Clark Kent stuff that they removed.
I love the Lois Lane subplot in the Ultimate Edition. That's what.
So maybe you might have a point there, Eric. Like maybe if he just decided to remove that part because maybe that just didn't have. But then again, maybe the thought process was that supposed to lead to the future movies. So they're like, well, we got to keep that in there. But then I don't know. Yeah, but I'm kind of with you on that.
I do wonder because like. Do you think because Batman v Superman was something new and different and kind of like ambitious, especially with like the Nightmare sequence, that it was so like new, like you've never seen anything like this in a comic book movie? I think that's why people kind of freaked out about it at first. They said it was like
that's why they wanted to keep it in there because it was just so out of left field. Like, what the fuck is happening right now? I don't know, but at the same time, I could see the argument of like removing that for the initial. If you just wanted to keep the initial plot of BVS intact and not remove all the Lois Lane stuff and the Clark Kent stuff that was removed, and remove all the Nightmare stuff, and just be like, well, okay, and there, I mean, I never even thought about that. It's a good point, Eric.
Yeah. Because honestly, looking at the movie as it is, the Ultimate Edition, that's the only part that's even remotely "quote unquote" expendable.
Yeah, that's setting up future shit. Yeah,
it's setting up future stuff, but as a film unto itself, all the other stuff is pretty much needed.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
I do believe very strongly. I've held this opinion for a long time. And my rationale is this. I do think audience investment in an actor playing the role matters a lot, and the general audience needing time to get invested into that version of the character. I do believe, and this kind of goes back to my earlier comment too, that like if BVS had been the third movie instead of a second movie, and if the second movie was kind of a more straightforward Superman follow up, then I think audiences would have resonated with Batman v Superman a lot more, especially Superman's death in the end. Not to say that people didn't resonate with it, but I think it would have had a greater impact because I think a lot of people in the audience are like, wait a minute, we just got introduced to Cavill's Superman and now he's dead. What the heck? Because people didn't buy into Bale's Batman until The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
general audiences weren't. I mean, I think they liked Bale's Batman, the ones that went and saw it in Batman Begins, and then I think Batman Begins was on Netflix for like a long time before The Dark Knight came out, and I think the Blu-ray sales did really, really well for Batman Begins as well. So people did kind of get it, but I don't think people were like, "Oh my gosh, Bale's an amazing Batman" until after The Dark Knight.
Yeah, it was The Dark Knight that helped. Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think there was like but we were talking about it earlier that the fact that Zach even said that he, when they were talking about the sequel, and of course there was like talking about Brainiac, we do that, and then he just immediately, he said, well, what about Batman being the villain? And I think when you say Batman in a Warner Brothers meeting, all the suits get boners and they go, oh yeah. That's their bread and butter. So I think, was that a mistake when it came to the overall thing? Maybe, possibly. There's always that consideration. I mean, I always like to look at the Snyderverse, the Snyder trilogy as a very much like the original Star Wars, where you have like, A New Hope is Man of Steel, Empire Strikes Back is BVS, and then Return of the Jedi is literally like almost like it's crafted like that original Star Wars trilogy, but it's so cool that it's directed by the same guy throughout, unlike that trilogy, even though George Lucas is all throughout that whole thing.
Well, he wrote the entire trilogy. So.
Yeah, he wrote it, but he didn't direct Empire in Return. But it's just, but it is interesting how it played out like that. But at the same time, yeah, maybe there could have been like a little, hey, let's spend more time with Cavill Superman before we get Batman in here, wanting to kill him. It's like there could have been that, but at the same time, when he had that idea, because we know that Zach is a Dark Knight Returns, he loves that book.
Yeah.
So he had that on the brain, like, what if we did that?
Yeah.
And he has been known for saying, like, hey, if you make a movie, you get the opportunity to make a movie, put it all in that movie. Because you don't know if you're gonna get a sequel. So I think Zach just had that mindset of like, hey, I'm getting a sequel. Who knows if I'll get another one? This might be an opportunity to do a version of Dark Knight Returns, which I've been wanting to do. And so then he was just like, well, what about Batman being the villain? And we could do like a Dark Knight Returns thing. And they totally ate it up. But then, of course, it ended up being maybe something that they didn't want it to be. I don't know. It's all crazy. Like, I don't know.
One thing I always do wonder, like, how do you think the DCU would have turned out had like someone like Jeff Romanoff or Alan Horn would have been at Warner Brothers? You think it would have been the same or no?
I mean, obviously, there's different people that have different ideas when it comes to all this. I don't know. I mean, again, we could play the what if game. What if this person? What if that? We could play that what if game. Yeah, things would have been different if different people were involved. If they would have just let Zach do his thing. I mean, they could have just let it be a slow burn of like, hey, they probably had no idea that the Ultimate Edition on DVD was going to like pump up a bunch of sales. And Zach emphasized that in later interviews, like, yeah, most of the money, a lot of money came from the Ultimate Edition.
That's what I don't understand, like why they freaked out though. It's like,
because that's what they do. They're up in their freaking ivory towers and they're sipping scotch and just being like, they're looking at dollar signs. They have people, I mean, literally the whole, they're looking at analytics. They're looking at like all reviews kinds of stuff. And they're always they're looking at reviews. They're looking at this. They're looking at every response, and they're trying to see what's, it's almost like, in Lucky Number 11, you have, Ben Kingsley and Morgan Freeman. They're both in their towers looking upon each other and being like, what's that person doing? So they're looking over at what's Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios doing? Oh, shit, we're not meeting up with that. And then when they saw the response to BVS, they really freaked out. And, they were already freaking out, and then they really freaked out when it came to the response of BVS. Even though it made them money, they were going, well, but it didn't make $1 billion. It should have made $1 billion because it's Batman and Superman. And they were like, no, what the fuck? We got to change Justice League. We're leading in the Justice League. But at the same time,
it was they
put upon Zach that they were like, hey, we got to get to Justice League. And kudos to Zach and Chris Terrio for being like, all right, well, I know what we can do. We're going to kill Superman, and then we're going to have this redemption thing. We're going to have this rebirth arc that we're going to bring everybody in. And I love that. I love the fact that it's not what Marvel Studios was doing. So I mean, I think we love that. A lot of us love that. And, and I think Ben Affleck was a big contributor with that. So, yeah.
Well, didn't they like hire like a trailer company to re-edit a Suicide Squad too?
Yeah.
Because it was like after like Deadpool, like and like Going to the Galaxy, they just thought like, oh, we can make this more funny, or like what was the reason? I don't remember.
Yeah. I don't know. Studios are studios. They do their thing. They suck. But what
Watch
can you do?
The studio. You want a good example of how
that's the thing. That's the thing. And Zach's a part of that. Zach's a part of that.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. I've not heard much about that or kind of wind of
it's
that.
So basically,
that's the one with Seth Rogen.
Yes. As I was just going to say, it's Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, and Seth Rogen basically gets thrusted into more or less, he gets thrusted into like a James Gunn kind of scenario. His boss he answers to is a character named Griffin Mills, played by Bryan Cranston, whom if you watch the show and you've seen the shenanigans happening at WB right now, you could easily look at what Bryan Cranston is doing and go, that's David Zaslav. It's fucking hilarious. Oh my God. The first 2 episodes are out now on Apple TV Plus. And basically, he gets the job because his boss, who's played by Catherine O'Hara, gets ousted after 40 years at the studio. And now he's the guy who gets to make the decisions of what movies get made and what don't. The first episode is him getting told to make a Kool-Aid movie, and he lightweight signs up Martin Scorsese to do it, only to kill the movie that Martin Scorsese brought him to begin with. It's so fucking funny, and yet so, like, if you want almost a satirical yet almost like realistic look into how the sausage is made on a very like technical producer level, this show is the show to watch. Ike Barinholtz is in it, Catherine Hahn's in it. It's got so many people, like so many talented people in it. Sarah Polley, who was one of the leads in Dawn of the Dead, she's in the second episode as a director making a movie, and Seth Rogen like shows up as like the studio head on the set of the movie and completely fucks up one of the shots they have to make. It is by and far one of the funniest fucking shows I've ever seen, and it's only 2 episodes in, and I will be watching this weekly going forward. It's really
I
funny.
have Apple TV, so yeah, I definitely gotta check it out.
It's on Apple
it's,
TV
it's
Plus.
worth it. Yeah, it's worth the watch, definitely.
And now suddenly I want
I'm gonna watch it tomorrow. I meant to watch it today, but
I got all of my TV viewing out of the work today. Like I watched The Studio, I watched the most recent episode of Yellow Jackets. Like I'm good, and then I started Severance, so I got to finish that now too.
Severance, oh yeah.
And suddenly I want to see a Martin Scorsese directed Kool-Aid movie.
Well, the thing is like in the show, he brings forth this script about the Jonestown massacre, and Seth Rogen's like, well, what if you? And they're talking about it through the pitch, and Seth Rogen's like, wait a minute, isn't that the one where they all die by drinking Kool-Aid? And Martin Scorsese's like, yeah. And Rogen's like, okay, cool. I'm gonna buy your script. We're gonna give you the biggest budget imaginable. The catch is, you have to call it Kool-Aid. It's it's just like once you watch the episode and understand like the complete what is
the irony is if you actually look at the historical event, it wasn't Kool-Aid, it was an off-brand.
Interesting.
Yeah, they even make a joke about that in the episode. Just
I know.
Just watch it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it tomorrow and stuff. But I think this is a good spot to end this stream right here. This has been fun talking with you guys. Of course, celebrating 9 years of BVS and our experiences. You know, we'll probably do this again. 10 years is gonna be interesting because a decade. That's all. Who knows? Like they might do like a re-release in theaters and blah 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 and all this kind of stuff. That'd be kind of cool if they did something like that. But yeah, it's been fun. We'll go around the horn, and if anything you have to promote, we'll start with you, Jade.
Sorry. Honestly, it probably not even gonna happen. There's probably going to be some people next year for the 10th anniversary going to be saying stuff like, give me the ultimate edition. But
there've long been rumors of other scenes, so
yeah, I mean, honestly, as big of a fan of the,
I mean, they could do a South Factory edition for the Suicide Squad, so there's that. So
there's still that. That's still
we still got the air cut. Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever get Zack Snyder's Sucker Punch director's cut soon, or like on a South Factory?
I think we will. I think that's a whole thing that he's been trying to do for a little bit.
Because he's working with WB with the 300 prequel series, so that's why I don't understand why they haven't why.
Well, he talked about how there's like TV rights. There's a bunch of different logistics when it comes to rights. So, I mean, when he talked about it on the Vodka stream, he said something about in that regard. So I think there has to be like legacy contracts. There's a thing called legacy contracts that they sign when it comes to a lot of this stuff that need to run up. They need to be, they need to end before there can be more discussions and more negotiations when it comes to certain things. But I think it mainly has to do with TV rights when it comes to Sucker Punch. There's legacy rights that have not so they can't do anything when it comes to like trying to release another cut until those contracts are up, until they're done, and then they could renegotiate doing some more shit or something like that. So
well, that kind of makes sense because I've always wondered why haven't they not done it with like someone like a South Factory or like an AOL Blu-ray thing that they are willing to do like different cuts of movies, you know. So that's why it's like I don't know why Zach doesn't pitch it to that, but maybe it's more complicated than that, I guess.
Yeah. But Eric, what do you got?
Well, I do have something prepped. Like I am actually in the process of finally putting together a studio in my place.
Nice.
So I might actually because I've been thinking about setting up like finally developing like the means to actually have like because I have a YouTube channel, but I have to actually use it for a change. So hey, I might actually have a show on myself, a show for myself. I'll let you know more as that develops. So follow me on YouTube at Hardboiled Entertainment, and follow me on Twitter X at Hardboiled Films.
Cool, Phil. I know you got to go too, so
yeah.
we'll sign off after this.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Always a blast getting to talk to you and everyone else. If anyone wants to follow me, pretty much everywhere except that cesspool run by Elmo Musk. I'm on Vero, Threads, Instagram, and Blue Sky, just unfiltered. You can catch my YouTube show, Friday Phil, every Friday, 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, where I kind of do the same thing that Dave does on Monday and Wednesday, just kind of go over the shit that happened throughout the week, be it news or whatever. If you guys want to give me, follow my podcast, The Eternal Night Show, my buddy Chainsaw and I just did an episode regarding Batman, current cinematic situation, things of that nature. That's pretty much it. You guys can also catch me here on the Baka stream mostly every Friday, and I'm also on Party Nation and Council Creators every Tuesday and Wednesday. So thank you guys. Right. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Appreciate you.
Of course, guys.
And then of course, Tony Movie Chappie D9. What do you got? You got anything to promote?
Nothing much. You can find me on Instagram and just Tony Movie Chappie D9 on Instagram. I just do Blu-ray reviews, and that's mostly it for right now. So, and I'm on other people's streams, like mostly on like the Sci-Fi Center. So yeah, you can find me in there. So see y'all. It's nice talking to you guys.
Always great talking to you, man. And then Carrie, what do you got? You got anything?
I'm on social media. Have fun trying to find me because I'm not going to tell you. If you really, really, really want to know, go by way of Eric or Dave, and they'll direct you.
There you go. Well, all right. Well, I appreciate everybody who's joined. This is always fun to do this, and I'll try to keep doing this monthly. Like I said, it's just with the move, with me moving and everything, it was hard to plan this out, and things were just busy on Saturdays, but always great to do this kind of stuff.
One more thing. I completely
what do you got?
forgot that I didn't even get to promote what I had because it just flew right through my head. But I actually just started uploading on YouTube a little bit. It's mainly pretty much gaming videos again. It's going to be at SlyBatDude on YouTube, Twitter, as well as even TikToks.
You have to do the TikTok. That's the thing. It's a big platform. What can you do?
Yeah.
So,
but that's it for me.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, appreciate you guys and appreciate everybody who is watching and everything. And like I said, raise your glass. I mean, with Ben Affleck and what he said, thank you, Batfleck, for what he did and what he contributed to this whole universe and everything. So, if he's hanging it up fully, I mean, who knows? You never know what the future can hold. He might just show back up in some kind of legacy sequel, which I'm all about. And we'll see what happens. But as of right now, he's just hey, he's trying to change Hollywood, and that's what I'm all about more. I'm like, hey, you don't need to be Batman. Be Batman in the sense, or be Bruce Wayne. He's trying to be Bruce Wayne and changing the environment as himself. So that's what's great about that. So thank you, Batfleck. Thank you, Ben Affleck. All right, guys, we love you, and we will talk to you later.